Welcome back to the live show. You know what time it is. It is your boy Genesis. It's been what, 2 days or 3 days? Who knows, guys? Who knows? But I am here. Man, God is great. That's all I can say. God is great, people. What is going on? What is good, everybody? What is going on? How are you doing? Are we live right now? I don't even know, but let me go on my other computer to find out if we are live. Are we live, people? Let me know. Um, are we live, everybody? Are we live, everybody? Let me know in the chat. Um, okay, where we at? Oh, looks like we are live. Looks like we are. Okay, look, man, I just wanted to come up here. I was gonna go to bed, but I'm like, man, it's been days that I've been here, and come on, man. You got to put in the work. That's all it is. You got to put in the work. I've been posting video on the video main page, or yeah, that's what you're gonna call it, right? The video main page. And yeah, man. I just wanted to come up here, talk to you guys, and give you the update. Give you the update. Give you the update. Give you the update from Nigeria. So I have this H factor. Okay, I have this H factor. I'm here to give you the update. Okay. Um. Alrighty. Here we go. Okay, so here goes. First of all, how was your day? Okay. How was your day? Let me know in the chat. How was your day? Okay, how was your day? Let me know in the chat. How was your day? All right, how was your day? Okay. So, Stephen A. Smith, this guy right here, looks like he may be a Republican in 2 days. Okay. He probably is going to convert to becoming a Republican very soon. That I could tell you for a fact. Okay. Okay. So you can hear me. So to confirm, okay? All right, let's listen to what Stephen A. Smith has to say concerning the J6ers and, of course, FBI.
The news comes amidst a bombshell report from the Justice Department that revealed the FBI had at least 26 confidential informants on the ground when the Capitol was stormed on January 6, 2021. The report says most of the informants engaged in illegal activity during the chaos. The Justice Department says only 3 of its 26 informants present had been instructed to observe potential domestic terrorist suspects on the day of the riot. The rest of the 23 appear to have gone to the Capitol on their own accord. Upon hearing news of the report, Vice President-elect J.D. Vance posted the following on X, quote, "For those keeping score at home, this was labeled a dangerous conspiracy theory months ago," end quote. Didn't hear anything about that for the election. Didn't hear anything about that when the quote-unquote insurrection was broached by Vice President Kamala Harris as the Democratic nominee. The belief that Donald Trump was a danger to democracy and using this as a profound, illuminating bullet point to make that case. And now here we are yet again finding even more evidence. Donald Trump's claims when he articulated that the process is rigged. My big issue is that I'm really, really sick and tired of every time I turn around finding something else that the Democrats have lied about or downplayed or misrepresented along the way. I mean, I see Republicans like Megyn Kelly or Officer Tatum or Candace Owens or, the Sean Hannitys of the world. You know what I'm getting tired of? You know what I'm getting to the Democratic Party? You know what I'm getting really pissed off about? I'm getting really ticked off at every time they open their mouth about something pertaining to y'all, they seem right.
Of course they seem right. Hell yeah, they're right. You know they're being right, but you've been fighting it. You've been trying to say they're not right, even though you know Stephen A. Smith. You know, you goddamn well know. You know Candace being right. You know if it's a Tatum being right. You know Kelly being right. You definitely know Kelly being right. But you ain't gonna take it, would you? He's about to be a Republican, y'all. Check it out.
The right had a monopoly on insidious, evil tendencies, corrupt tendencies, duplicitous, hypocritical, untruthful tendencies. And every time they made those accusations, we turn around and find out that at least some of them are guilty of the same shit. I don't know about y'all.
Oh, man.
But I'm sick of all of it. I'm sick of all of it. They've actually made Donald Trump look like he was right.
He being right.
Instead of them.
He's being right. Come on, man. You know he's being right. You know that man being right. Stephen A. Smith, you know that man is being right. You know that for a fact. Shout out to King Wizard Nelk. I mean, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, man. King. I'm just gonna say King. Shout out to King, man. Yeah. Stephen A. Smith may be a Republican at this point because he's supporting everything. He's now coming back to his senses and saying, you know what? Maybe this guy's been right. Maybe this guy, who everybody calls the OG, the legend, the Don, has been right all along. He's been right all along, y'all. Now, Stephen A. Smith is saying, you know what? J6ers may be an inside job. Maybe the FBI. Who knows, bro? Who knows? And this guy, if the Democratic Party loses Stephen A. Smith, you better know. And it's up, and it's up, and it's up. Yo, it's over. Because Stephen A. Smith is a very devoted Democratic person or Democratic voter, or however you want to put it. But if the Democratic Party lose a voice like this, a voice who thousands, if not millions of Americans listen to devotedly, man, it's over. Another voice for the Republican Party. This is why I said in 2028 and 2032, the Democratic Party better be ready because it might be another red wave, just like in 2024. You heard it here first, telling y'all. All right, what is going on with the drones? What is going on with the drones, man? What is going on with the drones in New Jersey, New York, or they even saw some drones in California, guys. There are drones in California now. Isn't that wild? Listen to this. Is the alien here or UFO? Who knows, bro? Who knows, man? Are you gonna play or not? Are you gonna play? Oh yeah, he's gonna play. She's gonna play. Check it out. Listen to this.
Welcome back into Live Now from Fox as we continue to track all of the latest. I want to bring you some breaking news in regards to some of these mysterious drone sightings that we have been seeing across the country. Taking a look here at a tweet from the Boston Police Department, they say this: 2 suspects arrested following hazardous drone operation in Long Island. Now, we do have a part of the statement here from the Boston Police Department as we just got this news just a little while ago. And it says this: on December 14th, 2024, at approximately 10:22 p.m., officers from the Boston Police Harbor Patrol Unit arrested 2 individuals identified as 42-year-old Robert Duffy of Charlestown and 32-year-old Jeremy Folkick of Bridgewater, Massachusetts. The arrests were made on Long Island, part of the Boston Harbor Islands, following a hazardous drone operation near Logan Airport's airspace. Both suspects face charges of trespassing with additional fines or charges potentially forthcoming. Now, that is just a part of the statement and the press release that was just given out by the Boston Police Department. A live now look over at Boston. There you can see the downtown of the city, as I want to read a little bit more from what we know with this press release. So Boston Police continues to say the incident began early that evening at 4:30 p.m. when a Boston police officer specializing in real-time crime surveillance detected an unmanned aircraft system operating dangerously close to Logan International Airport. Leveraging advanced UAS monitoring technology, the officer identified the drone's location, altitude, flight history, and the operator's position on Long Island. Recognizing the serious risks posed by the drone's proximity to Logan's airspace, additional resources were mobilized. The Boston Police Department coordinated with Homeland Security, the Massachusetts State Police, the Joint Terrorism Task Force, the Federal Communications Commission, and Logan Airport Air Traffic Control to address the situation. Members of the Boston Police Harbor Patrol Unit were dispatched to Long Island and located 3 individuals inside the decommissioned Long Island Health Campus. Upon attempting to make contact, the suspects fled on foot. 2 of the 3 individuals were apprehended and identified as Duffy and Fulkick. During the investigation, a drone was discovered inside a backpack carried by Duffy. The 2 suspects were transported to District A1 for booking. A continued search for the 3rd suspect.
Now, look, we ain't gonna take this. Because, wait, two guys in Long Island taking the fall for thousands and hundreds of drones seen across the United States. Really? That's what we're going to do? Is that what we're going to do, guys? Nah, man.
Believed to have fled the island in a small vessel was conducted by officers and the Massachusetts State Police.
Bunch of cap.
Duffy and Fulkick are scheduled to be arraigned in Dorchester District Court on charges of trespassing. Further charges may be filed pending the outcome of the ongoing investigation. The Boston Police Department reminds recreational drone operators of the importance of adhering to Federal Aviation Administration safety guidelines. Operators are prohibited from flying drones over people or vehicles and must be aware of airspace restrictions. Even small drones pose significant risks, including the potential for catastrophic damage to airplanes and helicopters. Near collisions can cause pilots to veer off course, putting lives and property at risk. And that was the complete press release that we just received from the Boston Police Department detailing the arrest of 2 suspects in hazardous drone operation. I just want to read the top part of that statement one more time, bringing up this graphic here on your screen so you can see there verbatim what Boston PD is saying about the situation. Again, saying that on Saturday, December 14th, 2024, at approximately 10:22 p.m., officers from the Boston Police Harbor Patrol Unit arrested 2 individuals identified as 42-year-old Robert Duffy of Charlestown and 32-year-old Jeremy Fulkick of Bridgewater, Massachusetts. The arrests were made on Long Island, part of the Boston Harbor Islands, following a hazardous drone operation near Logan Airport's airspace.
No. We ain't gonna take that. Hell no. We know they ain't. Look, come on, man. 2 guys, just 2 guys, okay? 2 guys are flying hundreds of drones across the United States, around in New Jersey, New York, Los Angeles. Okay, I see. Really good. Shout out to the FBI. More cap. Cap on cap. Kaepernicks. That's what they do. Come on, man.
Welcome back to Live Now from Fox. I'm Stephanie Quinu. Time right now is 2:38 Eastern, 11:38 Pacific. I wanted to share this social media post by Senator Chuck Schumer, who says that I'm pushing for answers amid these drone sightings. He's talking about the dozens of mysterious drone sightings that folks have been seeing in the skies above New Jersey, New York, and a number of other areas across the United States. He continues his social media post to say, quote, I'm calling for Secretary Mayorkas to deploy special drone detection tech across New York and New Jersey, and I'm working to pass a bill in the Senate to give local law enforcement more tools for drone detection. This is a live look right here at both New York and New Jersey. New York being on the left-hand side of your screen, New Jersey, Rutherford, New Jersey, right there on the right-hand side. This has really been weeks of fear about drones buzzing over parts of New York and New Jersey. And now Senator Schumer is urging the federal government to deploy better drone tracking technology to identify and to ultimately stop these drones. So just earlier today, he is now calling on the Department of Homeland Security to immediately deploy special technology that identifies and tracks drones back to their landing spots. His calls come amid growing public concern that the federal government has not offered clear explanations as to who exactly is operating these drones and hasn't stopped them. National security officials have said the drones do not appear to be a sign of foreign intelligence and interference, but there is a lot of skepticism. President-elect Trump posting on social media last week, quote, can this really be happening without our government's knowledge? I don't think so. Let the public know, and now, otherwise shoot them down. Now, certain agencies within the Department of Homeland Security have the power to incapacitate drones. However, Secretary Mayorkas was sharing with journalists, quote, we need those authorities expanded. Although he didn't exactly say how, he also said that the drones do not appear to be linked to foreign governments. Moments ago,
How do we know? Like, how do we know? Okay. How do we know? It's not linked to foreign government. How do we know? Who told you that? Did you check the drones? Did you take one down and examine it and say, oh, yeah, it's not linked to any government? According to Van Drew, the congressman from New Jersey, he said it's an Iranian mothership deploying drones from the eastern coast of the United States. Okay? So, how do we know? And how is this, like, anytime stuff like this happens, you better be ready for something coming. Okay? Look, 2025, the first quarter of 2025, get ready for something. Okay? You know, that's how 2020 started. 2020 started, we were in a little bit of something around January, February. And then all of a sudden, as soon as spring hit, 2020 happened. Okay? I ain't going to call the name, but 2020 happened. So now we've been hearing drone situation. And this is December. Okay? This is December. It's been happening since October, November, but like now it's becoming mainstream. Everybody's not getting worried about it. Now, just watch. First quarter of 2025. Man, I'm tired of all this. Man, I'm tired, man. If it ain't something, it's something else.
As Senator Schumer talking about the push for better drone detection, and I wanted to play that out for you now.
So I'll give it
1
to
o'clock.
him. I'll let him go.
Okay.
This
All
is
right.
white balance.
Okay.
I think we got it already.
Thank you.
Aiden, you're going to record for.
How am I going to hold this up? Okay. I'll do it this way.
And this
Okay.
and you do this
Yeah,
way.
yeah. Okay. All right. Good morning, everybody. Good to be back. And first, a Merry Christmas, Happy Holiday, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy everything to everybody. Okay. So, why are we here today? We're here today because it's not a bird, it's not a plane, it's a drone. And when it comes to drones, people in the New York area and all across the country have more questions than answers. We've seen lots of recent sightings in New York, New Jersey, Long Island, Staten Island. So, It's remarkable, with all these sightings over the last while, why do we have more questions than answers? Well, we're here today for three reasons. First, to push a new but unclassified tech into wide use, the so-called Robin, to get answers on these drones, and also to announce that I am going to help pass, and I'm going to co-sponsor legislation that will combat these drones in a better way by allowing local police departments and state police departments to help the feds in sighting these drones, which so many have requested.
Okay, here we go.
If the technology exists for a drone to make it up into the sky, there certainly is the technology that can track the craft with precision and determine what the heck is going on. And that's what the Robin does. Today we're asking the DHS, the Department of Homeland Security, to deploy special detection systems like the Robin, which use not a linear line of sight, but 360-degree technology that has a much better chance of detecting these drones. And we're asking DHS to bring them to the New York, New Jersey area.
Oh, really?
That's what we're trying to do, number one. Once we get those answers, we will be in much better shape. Let's face it, our local people who have Our local people who have questions about these drones should not have to shake an 8-ball to get an answer. They want real answers, and the Robin can supply those answers, and that's why we want them here. So this is a broader and better response to the technology than we now have, and we need them deployed. Technology like the Robin was originally targeted to assess birds in aviation, so it can find little things, because when birds fly into a plane, it can be very, very damaging. But that precision is just the kind of technology, the 360-degree type of technology, that will make it much easier to figure out what these drones are, where they are, and find out even who is launching them. I've had briefings from the Department of Homeland Security. These are not classified, so I can talk about them, about this technology. I asked them about it last week, and they said this is late last week, and this is just the kind of technology we need. Drone radar is based on the use of radio waves. The radio waves are sent out in short pulses, and that means it's detectable. The question is, why haven't the federal authorities detected them yet? But now we're pushing them to get this done quickly, because it's been too long where there have been no answers. Now, it is true it's not so easy. Some of the drones are small. Some of the drones' flight patterns are erratic. Multiple drones flying together can confuse a traditional radar system. And that's why, again, this new technology can really get us the answers that we need. Also today, I've written the Secretary of Homeland Security, Secretary Mayorkas, not only to urge action on technology like the Robin, but also to get him to support legislation. It's called S-1631. Right now, state and local law enforcement does not have the ability or the legal authority to detect drones. It's only the federal agencies. But because there are so many of these drones in so many places, our local authorities want and need the help. This legislation will get them the help. The FBI has used its authority, for instance, over the Super Bowls. I'm going to the Giant game today. There will be the feds with certain technologies right over the stadium there to detect any dangerous drones or anything else that could happen. Well, they can use the same thing to detect the drones that we now have and have seen. So that's basically it. I'll co-sponsor this legislation, and it's called S-1631, that allows the local authorities to do so, and I will be pushing it as soon as possible. As I said, I'll do it again for this nice man who came in.
Could you hold up the photos again?
Yes, I will. I will. To this very nice fellow.
Which outlet?
Okay.
Block your face, Senator.
No,
Bro, this is the strongest, the bravest, the richest, the most feared country on earth. Look at what they're holding up. Look at what we're holding up, guys.
Okay.
Don't block your face, Senator.
No, I
Bro. Hey. How is this even possible, guys? So wait, this is the drone that's supposed to be tracking the other drones? Huh? Hey. What?
Oh, good point. I should have learned that over the years.
You know how to do this.
Yes, okay. So this is what's in the sky. It's not a bird, it's a plane, it's a drone. New Yorkers have tremendous questions about it. We are going to get the answers for them. Okay? And as I said, we'll do it this way since I did it this way last time. So this is what's in the sky. It's not a bird, it's a plane, it's a drone. New Yorkers.
Oh, wait. Oh, he's saying this is the drone in the sky right now. No, this ain't. Like the drone in the sky, according to the reports, it's as huge, as big as an SUV. That's what they're talking. Look, this ain't me. This are reports, okay? They said this drone is huge. Probably as big as an SUV. So I don't know what Senator Schumer is talking about right here.
Have tremendous questions about it. We are going to get the answers for them. Okay? And as I said, we'll do it this way since I did it this way last time. You should not, if you see a drone in your air over your home, you should not have to shake an 8-ball to see what it is. There ought to be better technology, and there is. We need that technology here in New York ASAP. Okay? Questions on this subject? Yes.
Senator, if there's no idea where these are coming from, would you consider banning the sale of them from some of the companies that make the drones?
Well, we first have to see what they are. We have to see what drones they are, where they're coming from. Are they U.S. drones? Are they coming from? No one thinks they're from a foreign government, and no one thinks they're doing harm right now by tracking the patterns. But we certainly want to first get the answers to the questions, and then we'll take further action.
Are you in touch with the companies that make them?
We don't know they don't know what they are, so we don't know the companies. There are hundreds of companies all over the globe that make drones. We don't know which ones these are. This radar will help us find out which they are, and then we can go talk to the companies.
Senator, everybody who has a drone, especially in the media, right? These drones are being watched constantly. So how is it that you have drones that nobody knows anything about?
Well, they've happened in the last few weeks. And there is technology that can detect them, and that's what we're urging to happen right now.
So in other words, you're saying that these drones are not registered like normal?
Correct. There is no
drones.
system. This is what our legislation helps do. There's no system for registering any drone.
Okay.
You have, as long as the drone is not near an airport or a military base, as long as it is flying below a certain level altitude, people have a right to fly them. You can go to a park and some people are flying drones.
Got it.
Sir, as the author of the UAP amendment in the 2024 National Defense Authorization
Yes.
Act, you, among anybody, should be calling these what they are. We don't know they're drones, correct? They are UAPs. Why?
We don't-
Why aren't they being called UAPs?
Because we don't know if there are UAPs. We don't know what they are. That's what we're trying to find out.
Identified, of course.
Nobody knows what they are. We have to find out.
Senator, are
Yes.
these U.S. military drones?
We don't believe we do not believe they are U.S. military drones, or the military would have told us that.
Why haven't precautions been taken sooner? Why now? Why haven't precautions
Well, all of a sudden, they're in the skies all over the place, and so we got to find answers, and then the legislation will provide much more authority as to where and when drones can fly. Right now, there is no authority to that because there are so many hobbyists and everybody else who flies drones. So you got to figure out how to do it.
Senator,
Flying drone, flying drone shouldn't be anything people are getting all worked up about. But seeing hundreds of drones in the sky, as huge as an SUV, come on, man. Come on, man. Come on.
Spoken with top government leaders about the possibilities involved with non-human intelligence?
Look, we have spoken with top government leaders about finding the answers to what these are. We don't know what they are. No more, sir. Let other people. Okay?
When will you have a definitive answer of what these drones or where they're coming from?
The sooner the better. We've talked to the Homeland Security and the FBI and told them we need answers quickly, and they've said this legislation will help, and they say getting the Robins in the area will help.
Senator, drones are required to have digital license plates. Why hasn't there been any public?
There's the laws on where and when and who can fly drones are rather limited, and this legislation will make it greater. Will help make it greater. Yes, we'll take one more and then we got to go.
Governor Hochul came out with a statement just about 50 minutes ago saying that in response to her calls for additional resources, federal partners are deploying a state-of-the-art drone detection system into New York State.
We need the Robin system here. That's what we're asking
How
for.
does that fit into what she's saying?
I haven't talked to her, so I can't tell you. I don't know.
We can talk to you. She's
Yeah.
calling for the passing the counter UAS authorities.
That's the bill that I talked about. Okay. Okay. Thank you, folks. I got to go.
Is the Robin?
As usual, nothing useful. On to the next. On to the next. On to the
After
next.
4 weeks of unidentified drones flying over the East Coast, New York Governor Kathy Hochul today said the federal government is sending a new state-of-the-art drone detection system to her state, but she says Congress and the White House can do more. CNN's Julia Benbrook is in Washington with the latest on the federal government's response to these mysterious sightings.
Following the uptick in reported drone sightings in the Northeast, there are still a lot of unanswered questions. But Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas is looking to assure the public that there is no known public safety threat and that his team is closely monitoring any developments. He also says the agency is in close coordination with state and local authorities. During his most recent comments about the drone sightings during an interview with ABC that aired earlier today, he said that the federal government has deployed additional personnel, resources, and technology to help New Jersey State Police address the drone sightings. Now, while Mayorkas has said that there's no question people are seeing drones, he has also said that the technology has confirmed that at least some of those drone sightings are actually small manned aircraft. He is calling on Congress to act to help them address future situations, asking them to extend and expand the government's authorities when it comes to drones.
We are working in close coordination with state and local authorities, and it is critical, as we all have said for a number of years, that we need from Congress additional authorities to address the drone situation. We want state and local authorities to also have the ability to counter drone activity under federal supervision. That is one important element that we have requested, and we've heard it echoed by the state and local officials themselves.
Mayorkas was asked about President-elect Donald Trump's social media posts suggesting that the government could shoot down the drones. In response to that, Mayorkas said that there are some agencies within the Department of Homeland Security and outside of the department that could do that, but that they need those authorities expanded as well. Now, throughout these investigations and during these drone sightings, Mayorkas has continued to say that his team is not aware of any direct national security concerns tied to the reported drone sightings, but he has pledged to provide an update if his team sees any cause for concern.
Boston police say they have arrested 2 people for flying aircraft dangerously close to Logan International Airport. And it comes as state and local officials become increasingly frustrated by the lack of transparency about where these drones are coming from or how dangerous they might be. There are reports of sightings in at least 6 states now. Reported incidents include drones flying near military facilities and one even causing a New York airport to temporarily suspend flights. CNN's Gloria Pezmino is tracking the latest from New York. Gloria, what do you have?
Well, Fred, the biggest development so far, other than these continued sightings, is certainly this arrest out of Boston. The Boston Police Department telling us they arrested 2 men after one of their officers recorded some activity not far from Boston Logan International Airport. of a drone flying dangerously close, according to the police department. So that officer deployed some technology which helped him find the drone's flight information, their owners, and where they were operating from. That led him to Boston Harbor Island. This is an uninhabited small island near Boston. And once the officer arrived there, he found the two suspects who initially tried to flee on foot. They were eventually captured. One of them had a drone in his backpack, and a third is believed to have fled on a small vessel. Now, the question here is whether or not this arrest is going to lead to any additional information about some of the drone activity that's been reported over Massachusetts and many of these other states in the Northeast. But the question of technology being deployed by a police department is interesting because that is what we have heard from so many local officials asking the federal government to step in and provide more resources. To that point, here in New York, we heard from Governor Kathy Hochul earlier this morning. She said that following conversations with federal partners, New York is now getting some of those resources. Here's a statement from the governor. She said, in response to my calls for additional resources, our federal partners are deploying a state-of-the-art drone detection system to New York State. This system will support state and federal law enforcement in their investigation. Now, my sources here in New York tell me the governor and Department of Homeland Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas spoke twice on Saturday regarding these incidents. We have not learned anything else about what kind of technology this is specifically. I was told that because it is a matter of national security, they cannot share more about what these technology or how they work. But we are still hearing a lot of frustration from other lawmakers regarding the lack of information and what they say is a lack of transparency from the federal government. Take a listen.
There's a lot of us who are pretty frustrated right now. You know, the answer we don't know is not a good enough answer. When people are anxious, when they're nervous, and this has been true, you know, since we've been a species on this planet, people will fill a vacuum with, you know, their fears and anxieties and conspiracy theories. And, oh, my God, there's an Iranian mothership hovering off the coast of Asbury Park, or it's the Russians or it's the Chinese.
The administration has repeatedly assured people that they are safe. However, one, we need a briefing for the members of the Senate to figure out what's going on here. Two, we need more transparency.
So we'll see, Fred, if we start to get some of that transparency that these lawmakers are calling for over the next several days. In the meantime, we'll also be tracking whether or not the drone activity continues to be reported, which is...
How did we get here, guys? Like, how did we get here? This was just like small news. People were just talking about, you know what? We saw a drone sighting in New Jersey. Okay. Like 2, 4, 5, 6 drones. Now it's like hundreds of drones. And then it's like nobody knows what's going on. This is the United Goddamn States. This is the greatest country on earth. The strongest country in the world. And we're asking, what's in the skies? So you mean to tell me we don't have control of our airspace? No, man. That's cap. This is the United States, man. Come on, man. Y'all stop playing around.
Say some of these federal agencies have said that they believe some of these sightings have actually just been small airplanes and that they are not posing any sort of danger to local communities.
We've seen all these videos. Most of them, you know, they're dark, they're difficult to tell. In some cases, what we're actually seeing. What do you examine when you see these videos that have been posted and people are curious about them? Is it easy to tell manned aircraft versus drone?
Well, first of all, if you're seeing lights, you know, it tells you that you're working with either a sophisticated person who wants to be seen or maybe some unsophisticated users that are messing around. But if you're seeing lights, it means that it's very likely not a foreign threat. They would be dark, meaning you would not be able to see them.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay. So, all right. So then, in some of these reports from people, whether they are recording this stuff on their phone or otherwise, sometimes they're describing that they're seeing things that are as big as a car or bus, in the air. Commercial drones versus military drones, are they ever that kind of size, or are those likely manned aircraft?
Well, it's possible. I personally have worked on military drones the size of regular helicopters. So it's possible. But I think one of the things that you've seen a lot are people who talk about the rotating lights. That is another dead giveaway. If it's a rotating light, it is a manned aircraft because you don't find those lights on drones. And it's also human perception is we're all blind at night. And so lights can give you the appearance that something is much bigger, mostly because it may be further away. So I don't think that while it's possible, and certainly Picatinny is near there, I think that unfortunately, it's not going to be, people don't want to hear this, but probably a significant number are manned aircraft, although I do think that they are legitimately seeing drones.
Okay. And then there are different kinds of drones, right? Commercial versus private and military, as you mentioned. And is it the case that most drones are flying within the operator's visual line of sight and within a range of, say, maybe 1 to 2 miles?
Yes, for the most part. I mean, this goes back to those unsophisticated actors that we were talking about. I've done a ton of work on drones being used to drop contraband into prisons. And typically these unsophisticated actors, they need the lights to be able to figure out what they're doing. And they're almost always about a mile away from the aircraft. And it's also possible, I think people forget, look, Donald Trump loves robots. He had those spot robots down in Florida. And it's very possible that his security people are also trying to use drones that maybe coordinate with Spot.
And of course, they're going to bring the OG into it. What does Donald Trump? So now Donald Trump is flying drones? Oh, CNN, bro. He said, you know what? Donald Trump, his security personnel may be using drones. So now Donald Trump is flying hundreds of drones in New Jersey, close to his location, and securing his properties. Oh, I see. Blame Trump. The market tanks, you blame Trump. The border is not secured, you blame Trump. Ukraine and Russia, you blame Trump. Israel and the Palestinian people, you blame Trump. Price gouging, you blame Trump. Mortgage rate goes all the way up, you blame Trump. Now you're going to blame Trump for this? All right.
The robot dog, or trying to figure out a perimeter access. It's very possible that these unsophisticated actors are also trying to figure out what's happening at the golf course there. So, there could be military operations. There could be people trying to use this at the golf course there. There could be people trying to stress test. But from all of my experience working with the prisons in America, I'm pretty darn sure that if it's somebody doing something bad, these are very unsophisticated actors.
And do you have the confidence in the FAA or even Homeland Security that if this were a danger, posing a national threat, that they would be able to detect that in any and all of these objects that are in the air and convey that to the American public?
I think if this were a legitimate threat, we would be seeing different kinds of action. It's actually not difficult to track these. You do have to have some equipment to do radio frequency tracking. But because of the requirement for the operator to be so close, once you get one of these devices out there that can detect the strength of the signal and it shows you the direction of the signal, it's actually pretty easy to run these people down. I think that one of the things that we're seeing now that you're starting to see kind of reports explode everywhere, You remember, I work a lot with unsophisticated actors. They are feeding off of these newscasts. I have been not wanting to do these interviews because I don't want to keep making the problem worse. But most of the sophisticated actors I know are out there. Every time they see a news report, then they go out. They go to Boston, they go to North Carolina, then Washington, D.C., because now they're just feeding into the dystopia that's being created out of this.
Yeah, and one way of looking at it is maybe perhaps you're helping to set the record straight.
Yes, that's why. And I also want to tell people, if you're really worried that a drone is nearby at night doing something that it shouldn't, shine a bright light right at it. Because if you'll shine a bright light right at it, it cannot see anything.
Let's talk to an expert about this. Former FBI counter-drone chief Rob D'Amico joining us now. Rob, thanks so much for being here. I first just want to get your thoughts on kind of this it's not aligned in terms of the public interest, the public concern, and also from local officials. I talked to a mayor yesterday, very concerned, and really minimal answers or explanations from the government. What do you make of all of that?
There's so much to unpack here. One, I think it started with a couple incidences that I truly think 99% were manned aircraft, low-flying satellites, or planets, because looking up at the sky, it's so hard at night to figure out what a drone is. But then I think the hysteria has now caused people to start flying drones, either find drones or really to add to the chaos. Now you're getting a bunch of politicians just, because they don't feel like they're being informed, throwing stuff out there. Like the governor of New York was talking about this radar system. Radar alone doesn't work. Our systems in the FBI, we used ones that had radar, that had RF, radio frequency, had visual, because there's so many gaps in how drones are detected. You need a multi-sensor thing. I was an advisor for a company called Dedrone that combines all of them to one common sight picture that really needs to be trained on. And we, in the FBI, we went to Congress asking them to provide funds to train state and locals, because it's such an advanced technology that we thought the FBI could train the state and locals to do it. But it gets into such a mess now. But I think the one good thing coming out of this is people are starting to get attention to drones are going to be an issue, especially when big companies like UPS and Amazon want to do deliveries by them.
Yeah, the drones really will be an issue. I also want to ask you, we just heard in that clip that Gloria was reporting on the current Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer asking the government to deploy what he was calling the Robin. Would something like that make a difference?
Okay, the Robin's radar. So when we incorporate a radar system to our counter drone system, you have to really fine tune it. We were discovering like AC units on top of buildings because the radar was picking up the spinning of the fans as propellers. So again, one system alone, one sensor alone does not work. Radar, RF, visual, and you can have some other ones in there that as technology gets more advanced, you plug it in, and they all need to work cooperatively to look at all the pictures. So if it picks up radar, the video camera gets slewed to it, and you can confirm it by visual if it's a drone, or if it RF is picking up the controller and the drone, again, the video would slew to it, the radar would slew to it. So it's a multi-sensor approach that gets very complex. You need a lot of training for it, but it is out there. But it's just not one thing at all that's going to fix this. And as you talked about the radio frequency gaps, we had our own FCC saying that we couldn't even look at some radio frequencies that maybe foreign assets use for their drones.
And so I think also, too, what you're getting at here is it takes a lot to really figure out what these drones are doing, where they come from, to identify them. And I think that's where people are getting so frustrated, is it seems like we should know more, and we really don't. We don't know where these are coming from.
That is a problem, but it's also hard to prove a negative, because I still think the majority are false spottings. Everything that they've been looking at is when they line it up with the flight plans. We used to use an app, Flight Radar 24, and it shows all the planes over your area, including government and commercial and small planes. And it's amazing that how many airplanes can be over one single area. They might be set off by altitude, but from the ground, they all look the same. Or if they're all coming in, I saw one video where they're saying that drones were lined up Well, that's planes in approach pattern. They're miles apart, but when you look at them from a certain angle, they look all on top of each other. So again, it's tough, and it is a technology. I had the best guys out there that were working because that's all they worked was counter drones. That training can go to state and locals, but it's going to take some time and funding. And I think Congress really has to get a hold of, in order to go in the future with what drones are going to be used by. They talk about drones being able, like taxis, go pick someone up. You're going to have to figure all this out and what that airspace looks like to deconflict.
Yeah, and it sounds like what you're saying is, regardless of what the outcome is here, we're not properly prepared for the future with drones, that we need, that you think that more should be done, more funding, more training, all of these things.
I do. I mean, even with the systems that the FBI had for special events, and that's what the Bureau was looking at, was weaponized drones. There were still gaps in that technology. I'm not going to go into them. I don't want to give that away, but there's still gaps in there that you have to account for. And you have to have a layered defense. You have to have multi-layers sensors, and you have to have multi-layer mitigation systems to be able to control all those drones that may provide a threat to something.
And our next guest has been pushing federal agencies for more answers about the drone sightings. He told CNN this past week they're not providing enough information to the public, and the public is concerned. Congressman Josh Gottheimer joining us now. He's a Democrat from New Jersey, which is the state where most of these drone sightings have been happening. He also sits on the House Intelligence Committee. Congressman, thanks so much for being here with us. Good to see you. What do you know?
Thanks for having me. Great to see you.
Good to have you. What do you know?
I mean, listen, what I know is I've been hearing from literally hundreds and hundreds of my constituents who are completely frustrated by the lack of information from the FBI and from Homeland Security on what all these drones are. I mean, I've had briefings, as I've said, that makes me feel confident based on those briefings that there's not an imminent threat to public safety, but it doesn't answer the question, where are all these drones coming from that people are seeing, and why aren't we doing a better job of tracking them and understanding that? And most importantly, why isn't the FBI coming clean with the public instead of, as you know, first telling them that they're seeing things, which I think is insulting and ridiculous. And I was glad that the head of Homeland Security came out today, the secretary, and said that people are seeing drones, because I'm hearing from law enforcement, from folks, that they're seeing these drones. So the question is, are these new drones? Are they people putting up the recreational drones? Given the size that I'm hearing about of the size of these drones, I think these things are beyond recreational, if it's true what people are saying to me about what they're seeing with their own eyes. So I'm in the business of actually listening to people instead of trying to insult them and claim that this is not happening.
Yeah, I mean, there has been this idea that, okay, wait, maybe people, yes, there could be some drones, but now everybody's paying attention, and so maybe people are just seeing what they think are drones but aren't, and that sort of kind of line of thinking, or these are manned aircrafts. But, again, I've talked to other people, a mayor yesterday who has seen it with his own eyes and is absolutely convinced. And as the secretary said today, as you noted, that these are drones that are flying above people's homes.
Of course. And by the way, listen, yes, some of them may be manned aircraft, some of them may be helicopters, but it doesn't make any sense when I spoke to some law enforcement last night who told me they saw them with their own eyes above them, a large drone. So, listen, I'm going to believe them. The question is, what are they? And let's make sure we get that information in that briefing, and also give local law enforcement the tools they need both to track these drones and to deal with them, right? Working with federal partners to get them out of the sky and to make sure they're not flying over places. I'm not talking about recreational drones at the beach. I'm talking about large drones that are unlicensed or unregistered. Let's make sure that they're not flying over critical infrastructure like dams or reservoirs or over military bases or airports, as you just talked about a minute ago, or of course doing any reconnaissance missions or over people's homes and invading their privacy. These are real issues. It can't be the Wild West of drones out there in Jersey or anywhere else. We got to get to the bottom of this, and people deserve answers.
Yeah, and I hear you when you say you've had these briefings. You do feel confident that they're not an imminent threat. It is just this idea, though, I think, that where people's frustration, I'm sure this is what you're hearing too, is kind of this disbelief that no one can explain what it is, right?
No, I mean, that what the frustration rightly is why isn't the FBI and DHS and the FAA, as I've asked them to do, get out there and do a real proper public briefing, not put out a statement. I mean, a real proper public briefing when they answer questions and say, here's what everything we know. Here's how we're tracking these. Here's why we believe, and based on the briefings they're giving me, why there's no imminent threat, because there's ways they can scan for, of course, weapons or other imminent threats to public safety, and give that information out to the public, and then explain what they think is going on here, because there's no way we don't have this information, or I hope we do. I have a classified briefing, I believe, early this week on getting, and I've asked for to get more information. But the bottom line is this. You got to give the tools to local law enforcement. They're doing a great job out there. We got to coordinate better. We got to give more information to the public. And the bottom line is we need laws in place that give law enforcement the tools to be able to use these resources, that say if you're going to throw up a drone over a base, a military base, or over critical infrastructure, you're going to pay the price for it. And of course, just be transparent with people.
Why don't you think they're being transparent with people? Because you're right. I do think that's it. Clearly they're able to give you this information in a classified briefing or in a briefing, but they're not able to tell the public. And without information, you know what happens with the information vacuum.
I mean, I'm with you. Exactly. You're just leaving a vacuum out there. A couple days ago, the federal government was saying people are seeing things. There's no drones, right? I don't know if you remember this, just a couple of days ago. Then, of course, the Secretary of Homeland Security comes out today and says, no, indeed, people are seeing drones, and we believe them. So they're a little all over the place, and I'm really trying to figure that out. And frankly, all I care about is that they correct it, get out there, and give the information. I'm not sure why they're not, and that's one of the questions I keep asking them. But I'm going to keep being out there pressing them until they do the right thing and come out and give this information to the public, explain to people what this is, what's going on, and make sure that they feel comfortable, because otherwise, as you just said, you leave a vacuum and people worry, and I don't want people worrying about this. They shouldn't have to sit around worrying about this.
Yeah, and then just lastly, we had a former FBI official on a couple hours ago, and he was talking about the fact that, look, they need more funding. They need to be trained. This is the future. Drones are here to stay. We're only going to see more of them. And his assessment was that we're not properly prepared for all of this. Do you agree with that? And do you think that there should be more funding to provide for training and all of this, and making sure that federally and locally we're prepared for the future here?
It's one of the things after this began that I introduced legislation on, and I've introduced legislation in the past on, to call for more resources, more funding for local law enforcement to make sure they have the tools they need to track, right? Because there should be some tracking system, think just like our airport tracking, right? We should basically have coordinated tracking of all these drones, and to have the tools to respond, right? To be able, if necessary, work with local partners to get these drones out of the sky, right? Because if they're flying over someplace they shouldn't be, we got to get them out of there and not threaten anyone's threaten public safety or national security. And also, you don't want these drones flying around collecting, doing reconnaissance and collecting information on people. There's a lot of good uses for drones, proper uses for drones, right? We know at major events, and law enforcement uses them properly, and people use them for fun at the beach in the summer, and very small drones, right? But there's a huge difference between large drones flying above that are unregistered, unlicensed, we don't know where they're from, they're unwelcome there, and someone using it recreationally. And we got to draw a line there and be very clear that this can't be the Wild West of drones in our country.
Yeah. All right, Congressman Josh Gottheimer, thanks for your time tonight. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Jessica. Take care.
Look, y'all got to know, man. Y'all got to know, because this ain't it. This ain't it right here. What is going on here, man? Drones everywhere flying around. People are wondering, what is this? What is going on in the United States? This is supposed to be the strongest nation on earth. And somebody just said in the chat, somebody said, is this part of Trump's Iron Dome's program? If it was Trump's Iron Dome's program, I think he would have let the people know. He would have come out and said, you know what? You guys shouldn't worry about it. He may not tell you exactly what it is, because, he's definitely unpredictable. You never know what he's doing, because it is what it is. But he would have said something like, you know what, you guys, this isn't something we should be worried about. Let's focus on the border, try to distract us. But instead, he posted a video of Chris Christie, actually a picture of Chris Christie and of Chris Christie getting a delivery from McDonald's. Yo, man. I'm gonna play y'all. I'm gonna show you the picture. Hold on. Let me play this video, then I'm gonna show you that picture. Because this guy right here, bro.
Members of Congress and local elected officials are growing increasingly irate at the Biden administration's lack of answers over these ongoing, unexplained drone sightings. Republicans and Democrats alike are demanding more transparency, some calling it outrageous and concerning. The drone sightings are no longer limited to New Jersey. Now there are other states, including New York and Connecticut, where state police just deployed a drone detection system. Just moments ago, White House National Security Communications Advisor John Kirby was asked once again to try to explain this all.
I wish I could tell you exactly why we don't have an answer for you here in the afternoon on the 13th of December, but I can tell you that we are working on it very, very hard to know, because we want to answer those questions the same as those folks in New Jersey want answers to them.
Today, New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy formally requested additional resources from the Biden administration to help figure out just what is behind this activity. Federal officials insist there's no threat to the public, saying many of the reported sightings are actually just normal airplanes and helicopters. People are certainly mistakenly identifying airplanes, but we should point out it is not just the tinfoil hat brigade saying drones are out there in the sky and acting strange. Elected officials say they've seen the drones. The U.S. Coast Guard says it has encountered the drones. And today, a U.S. Navy base in New Jersey says it has spotted, quote, several instances of unidentified drones entering the airspace. CNN's Omar Jimenez has all the latest on the sightings and the investigation. He filed this report from New Jersey.
There has to be some explanation to the public for all this increased activity, and they must do so now.
And yet, there hasn't been, even as the federal government says there's no evidence of any national security or public safety threats. And there have been growing calls for answers as drone sightings continue in New Jersey, and now also the New York metropolitan area.
They must immediately disclose more information to the public. It's totally and completely unacceptable. New Jersey can't become the Wild West of drone activity. No state can become the Wild West of drone activity.
It's now been a month since some of the first drones were reported near a military installation in northern New Jersey. Since then, there have been dozens of reported sightings, as some federal officials throw cold water on some of those reports.
We have not been able to, and neither have state or local law enforcement authorities, corroborate any of the reported visual sightings. It appears that many of the reported sightings are actually manned aircraft that are being operated lawfully.
And in a joint statement, the Department of Homeland Security and the FBI said in part they're working to confirm whether the reported drone flights are actually drones or are instead manned aircraft or otherwise inaccurate sightings. Despite attempts by officials to calm concerns, videos of reported drones in the skies are still popping up all over social media.
Wow, they just passed the truck.
Yeah, I've never seen that before.
Including these from New Jersey Senator Andy Kim as he went out with local police Thursday night. There was even a downed drone that was reported, but it was later revealed to be a hobby or toy drone. All the while, without a definitive explanation, questions have filled the vacuum. New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy writing to President Joe Biden expressing concern about the reported drone sightings and asking for more federal resources, saying in part, existing laws limit the ability of state and local law enforcement to counter UAS or unmanned aircraft systems. It has become apparent that more resources are needed to fully understand what is behind this activity. New York Governor Kathy Hochul confirming that drones have also been spotted in New York, posting on X, at this time, there's no evidence that these drones pose a public safety or national security threat.
Which is what we've heard from the Department of Homeland Security and the FBI as well. But of course, the number of states where these reported sightings have happened has grown. And to give people a perspective, as of early October, there were almost 800,000 drones registered with the FAA, about an even split between commercial and recreational. So just the high usage in that arena alone adds to this complicated investigative process of trying to find a single through line to what has been sightings over at least a month now.
All right, Omar Jimenez in New York. Thanks so much. With us now, Republican Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis of New York. Congresswoman, thanks for joining us. So you sat in on a Homeland Security briefing about the drones earlier this week. Did you get any real answers? And when do you expect another briefing?
Well, no, we didn't get answers. As a matter of fact, they said just what Mr. Kirby said, that a lot of these are being mistaken as drones. And that may be so. Some of these certainly are not drones, they are aircrafts. But at the end of the day, there are a lot of flying objects all over the tri-state area, and many of them are very obviously not planes. And so the question that we have, which I find it astounding, that the government can't give us any answers. Our military, with its capabilities, cannot give us any answers as to what these are, because some may be from hobbyists, but certainly the ones that we're seeing are not. They could be commercial, but if they're commercial, our government should know about it. And they should also know that they're violating FAA airspace, which says you cannot fly between sundown and sunrise. And that's when most of these objects are coming out. They're coming out.
When people say the government is violating a code or a rule or a constitution or whatever y'all saying is violating the law of the FAA, who made the law? The government is violating the law. Who made the law? The government. Okay. So when you say the government is violating the law, I don't know what y'all mean. Okay. I don't think the government can violate any laws, bro. I just don't think so. Because they make the goddamn laws.
In the middle of the night when it's dark, and they're violating the rules in terms of how high they can fly in altitude. So it is concerning, particularly over an area like New York City, so densely populated, that we have so many of these drones / unmanned aerial systems above head. There could be an accident, there could be a crash, there could be a lithium battery issue. We are very concerned about the safety, and we expect the government to have answers for us on what this is. And I think it's potentially our own government that may be doing some surveillance or counterterrorism, but then be honest with the public and let people know, because right now we feel like a bunch of characters in War of the Worlds, and we deserve to know the truth.
Do you, for the theory you just posited, that it's our own government doing some anti-terrorism work, is that just a theory? Do you have any evidence for that? What's the reason for that suspicion?
You know, it's actually my hope that that's what it is. It's our own government and not a foreign nexus. And if it's commercial, then my question would be, why is the FAA not enforcing existing regulation? Because these are flying outside of the regulations. They are violating the FAA policy in terms of altitude and the time that they're operating. So then that leaves me to believe that it could only be our government unless it's a foreign nexus, which I think we would all hate to believe could be the case.
So Governor Hochul, New Jersey Democrat, says there's no evidence these drones pose a public safety or national security threat. It doesn't, I mean, if they are violating the rules, as you're saying, then how can she say that?
Exactly. When somebody tells me there is no known threat, I say, but there still could be a threat. And that is the problem. So it's not just that this could potentially be, foreign nexus or something like that, a foreign government that's operating these drones. It's like in a manner that the Chinese spy balloon had been crossing our country, going over sensitive areas. I'm also concerned about the public hazard of having these objects flying above us in violation of FAA protocol and in densely populated communities like mine. Where we have buildings, it's very residential, and an island like Staten Island, you have 500,000 residents. So it is very concerning. And I would say that they're also flying over sensitive infrastructure, the Verrazano Bridge, which happens to connect a U.S. Coast Guard base on one side on Staten Island with a U.S. Army installation on the Brooklyn side.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of questions here. And honestly, we just want the truth. We just want the government to tell us what they know. I find it very hard to believe that our government, with its intelligence and its military capabilities, does not know what's going on here. And if the truth is they don't, then we have a much bigger problem right now.
Yeah, I'm not sure which is worse. New York Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis, Republican from New York, from the great island of Staten. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
We are at the drone port at Warren Community College in Warren County, New Jersey, in the northwestern section of the state. There is a state-of-the-art drone program here for students. You are looking at very large drones. I am holding right now a small drone. This is the kind of drone that CNN and other news organizations use to get video from the sky. With us is Dr. Will Austin. He's the president of this college. He's also an expert in aviation and unmanned aviation, also in drones. First of all, I know you're going to tell me you don't think what people are seeing and reporting is nefarious. We'll have more on that in a minute. But first, why are such large drones used? What's the applications for?
So the first one is used for agricultural spraying. This is used for power line inspection or search and rescue. This smaller one is used for cell tower inspection, and this orange one here is used for land surveying.
Okay, we have a large one here. Adam Kyle is over here. He's going to operate this drone. Take off, Adam. We can. So this is what
This is
farmers
also an agricultural drone, so normally not fly at night.
Okay, so one of the things we keep hearing from people, from citizens and politicians, is they see things in the sky that are the size of cars, and they're very concerned and scared. First of all, can you tell how big a drone is when it's in the sky?
No, the most amazing thing is that's going to look larger to us here standing on the ground than it did when it was sitting on the ground, and it's going to look smaller on your screen when you take the video. So it depends on perspective with some of these things.
Adam is moving it side to side right now. Airplanes can't move side to side with the pilot there. So maybe they are drones that are being seen.
Oh,
right?
I believe people are seeing a lot of drones since Thanksgiving because they're putting up their personal drones. And again, once those are in the sky, it's very hard to differentiate one aircraft from another.
How do you know it's not China or Iran doing this?
Well, the reason I know is because they would turn the lights off, because those lights are on that drone so another aircraft doesn't hit it, and so a pilot in the sky can avoid it, and it is not put there for us on the ground to be able to see them.
So what do you think's going on right now with all these reports, though? I mean, there are serious politicians who are saying these should be shot down.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to shoot this down because if you hit the LiPo battery, you might set the whole forest on fire or your house or hurt someone. But what,
well, hell no.
And it's illegal. But really, you don't really need to be afraid of the drones, even if there are drones up there. I think what's happening is people are seeing what's known as the parallax effect, which makes planes look like they are not moving. We teach this here as part of our program.
But you're saying bad actors can use satellites to get information. They don't need drones to do that. So finally, do you have any worries whatsoever?
I have no worries. I'm going to sleep very well this entire month and enjoy Christmas.
And joining us now to talk more about these mysterious drones is Michael Mellum. He is the mayor of Belleville, New Jersey, which is one of the communities where numerous drones have been spotted. Mayor, thanks so much for being with us. We do have some video that you and the Belleville Police Department obtained that I want to show our viewers. And if we can go ahead and put that up. Here it is. So just tell us about what we're seeing here, where this is, where you've been seeing drones.
Thank you for having me. So that video that you're seeing was actually shot by one of our Belleville police officers who actually is a licensed drone pilot. So he's got some familiarity with how these things move. He shot that, and what you're looking at right now is in very close proximity. Belleville borders the city of Newark. And Newark, as we probably all know, Newark International Airport is right there, right in the middle of air traffic control. So that's really running up and down Route 21 here in Belleville, which is a direct conduit right to Newark International Airport. That's why it's gravely concerning to see so many drones in the air night after night. That video was shot on December 8th, but the last 2 days has been a hotbed. We have been swarmed with drones over the last 2 evenings.
So a statement put out by federal investigators says they haven't corroborated any of the sightings with electronic detection, and they actually believe that many of the reported sightings are manned aircraft that are operating lawfully. Do you think that some of these reports have simply misidentified or mischaracterized drones? And you know, specifically in that video, what is it that the drone operator said, no, this is the behavior that tells me this is a drone?
Certainly, I mean, now that you have almost widespread hysteria because we have a lack of transparency going on here, everybody's looking up in New Jersey. So clearly there's going to be some misidentification going on. But I could tell you from my own visuals, things that I've seen out my bedroom window and things I've seen over the edge of my balcony, we are absolutely seeing drones. We are not seeing small planes. And frankly, it's been insulting to the residents of New Jersey to be told that they're just seeing things or they're all misidentifying. We're not misidentifying. There are objects that are flying within hundreds of feet above our homes. That's not good. They're just above the sight line, just above the tree line. We know for a fact that these things are not operating the way airplanes do. Airplanes tend to glide and go from point A to point B in a direct line. These things are going up and down in elevation. They're hovering. They're moving erratically. These things are not manned aircraft. That's insulting to be told that.
Do you think federal officials are taking this seriously enough?
It depends on your perspective on that. I mean, we keep being told that these drones are hovering over our critical infrastructure. So that could be either scary or comforting. Scary if it's a bad actor, or comforting if it's actually our federal government. Some out there, and I'm probably in that group, actually do believe these may be government assets that are being deployed because potentially they know of a threat, an active threat, and that these might very well be government assets.
So what do you want from federal authorities? And is part of this the communication that you and other mayors are getting from them? Because it seems that there's been some frustration on that front.
There's a lot of frustration. On Wednesday, 200 mayors were gathered for a security briefing that was unprecedented in the state of New Jersey. We left that meeting knowing next to nothing. What we're asking for is transparency. At this point, I'm not necessarily concerned with who the drones belong to. I can make that assumption. I'm more concerned with why they're out there. That's really the answer. I think having more transparency from the administration, not being told that we're seeing things, not being told there's nothing to see here, I think more transparency would actually stop fueling the conspiracy theories that are spreading like wildfire on social media.
So you're saying you think you know who owns the drones?
Yeah, I'm saying that I'm more concerned with why they're there. I mean, you have to understand something. We were told that they're hovering over critical infrastructure. We're also being told there's no credible threat. We're
So
also
you
being
think
told
it's a good
they
actor.
don't want to take them
You
out of the
don't
air.
think it's a foreign actor. Do
I
you
do
have
not. I think
reason? Do you have reason to believe that it's actually then? I mean, I'm just trying to read between the lines of what you're saying, that maybe this is U.S. government or some sort of U.S. asset, but they're not disclosing the objective.
I believe that. The fact they're telling us no credible threat, the fact they're saying they will not shoot them down, the fact they're saying they will not put a temporary ban in place, it's pointing to something. And that's not little green men, and it's probably not a foreign enemy.
Exactly. I mean, if the United States government is saying, you know what, we're not going to shoot it down, please do not shoot it down, then come on, man. This is something, in my opinion, I think probably they know about. I feel like the government knows about it, because if you're saying don't shoot it down, and then you're like, we're still going to find out what it is. Wait, what is it? You said don't shoot it down. You're saying you want to find out more about it, and then you're saying don't shoot it down. You goddamn know what it is.
More than likely, we do believe that these are probably our assets that are actually looking out for a potential threat. That's what we want to know.
All right, Mayor, thank you so much. Really, really appreciate you being on.
Thank you.
No, there is still no definitive answer as to what is with all the large drones people in New Jersey and other nearby states think they are spotting in the skies at night. At least one Jersey locality is being told that if one happens to fall from the sky, to handle it with care, extreme care, as in call the county bomb squad. That is what Michael Mellum told us. He is the mayor of Belleville, just north of Newark. He says that advice, which his emergency coordinator shared with him after recent state-level meetings, also included this item. Local fire departments, he says, were told to wear hazmat suits when they respond. As we said, it's not just New Jersey anymore. There have now been spottings in New York and Connecticut, where state police have just set up a drone detection system. And Maryland, take a look at this. This is footage from the former governor, Larry Hogan, who lives about 45 miles south of Baltimore. He says he saw what appeared to be dozens of large drones in the sky for about 45 minutes, starting at about 9:45 last night. He says people are clamoring for answers from the government, but are not, he says, getting any. A notion the White House today acknowledged.
I wish I could tell you exactly why we don't have an answer for you here in the afternoon on the 13th of December, but I can tell you that we are working on it very, very hard to know, because we want to answer those questions the same as those folks in New Jersey want answers to them.
So federal officials insist there is no threat to the public, saying many of the reported sightings are actually just normal airplanes and helicopters. But today, New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy said he is formally requesting additional resources from the Biden administration to help figure exactly what is going on. And tonight, the president-elect weighed in on social media, quoting now, "Can this really be happening without our government's knowledge? I don't think so."
Shout out to the OGD47 president-elect. Mystery drone sightings all over the country. Can this really be happening without our government's knowledge? I don't think so. I definitely don't think so, OG. Let the public know, and now, otherwise, shoot them down. Okay, shoot them down. DJT. Donald John Trump. Shoot them down, dogs.
So let the public know, and now, otherwise, shoot them down. Now, shortly after that posting, DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas told CNN's Wolf Blitzer, quote, "We know of no threat," unquote, to the American public.
What we have done is we have deployed our state-of-the-art technology.
Man, stop
We've
that,
deployed
Cap.
our experts
Cap.
to New Jersey.
Cap.
That technology has not confirmed any drone sightings. In addition, it has confirmed that some reported drone sightings are in fact small aircraft. Pilots have not reported seeing drones. That's not to say that there aren't drones, flying in the air, but we have no concern at this point with respect to a threat or any nefarious activity.
So in just a moment, one drone in the New Jersey sky we know everything about. It will be flying over our Gary Tuckman for his report coming up on all the non-nefarious, non-mysterious, perfectly good reasons you might see a drone overhead. First, though, CNN Chief Law Enforcement and Intelligence Analyst John Miller and Juliette Kayyem, CNN Senior National Security Analyst and former Assistant DHS Secretary. So, John, we did get, I guess, a little more from Secretary Mayorkas. They've deployed teams. They've deployed technology. They have no confirmed drone sightings. They have some airplanes and some maybe drones, but really no definitive answer as to exactly what they are, exactly what people are seeing. So what do you make of how adamant he is there's nothing nefarious?
Well, I think he's adamant that the teams he sent up there haven't seen it. They probably have the expertise. I also think it's plain and reasonable to assume, more than assume, that there is a little bit of reporting contagion now, spurred by us and all of the stories where people are now looking for it and seeing things that they think may be drones. And in the distance, when you see planes stacked up over the runway in a flight pattern and they're spread out and they're in a line and then they start to land, you could say, well, there was a group of them over there. People have seen Starlink things flying and said, well, that was drones. And then some people are quite certain that they've seen drones. I just think, if you look at the history of some of the confirmed sightings, particularly at military locations, you have 2024 drone incursions reported at the U.S. air bases in England. 2023, the Pentagon confirms that in October 2024, so it took them a while to confirm it, that a fleet of unidentified drones flew over restrictive airspace in Norfolk, Virginia, near the SEAL Team 6 training headquarters and near an Air Force base for 17 days. There's a lot of professionals who saw these. October 2023, drones flying over government sites in Nevada. So we know that this happens. The question is, when it does happen, what is it? And is this one of those?
So, Juliette, again, Mayorkas said some may be airplanes or some are airplanes, he said. Some, he also noted, were multiple sightings of the same object, maybe 6 people reporting one drone. But beyond that, there was no definitive, this is what people are seeing. So one of the concerns people have is transparency. How would you rate the level of transparency now we're getting from DHS?
Well, I think the administration was a little slow in picking up how social media and how all of us, how people respond to this, especially since it's been going on in November. I also think John Kirby was a little bit more ambiguous than when Secretary Mayorkas comes on a couple hours later and basically was, no pun intended, shooting it down. I mean, he basically was saying, everything that we can see now has an explanation. The best way the viewers can understand this is for those of us who are in the water or surfers or whatever, there's a app that shows shark activity, and it's a sort of crowdsourced app. And so everyone says, oh, there's a shark and there's a shark and there's a shark, and then you realize all of a sudden people are just reporting that there's sharks in the water, right? And Mayorkas is basically saying there are drones in the sky, and now that we're all looking at it, people are seeing more more drones. I'm not saying he's accurate or that as John rightly put, some of these drones are over areas you don't want them to be. But I was surprised how adamant Mayorkas was finally. And I do want to say something about the president-elect. We have strict rules on shooting down things in the air for a variety of reasons. Of most local and state, and certainly the private sector can't do it. The public ought not to do it. So I didn't know how to understand his message. It sort of suggests that the public should try to do it. You don't do it because the debris lands on homes and people, and it's a very dangerous response. So shooting them down is not a response. But if there is more to learn, certainly it should be disclosed.
You know, John, there seems to be a little bit of a state-federal divide here also. You know, the New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy requested more resources to deal with this. I guess more resources for what exactly, if they don't know what it is? And how is that divide going right now?
Well, I mean, you think about it. You've got people, mayors, county executives demanding answers from the governor asking the state police to deploy resources. Footnote here, state police helicopters deploy, they spot what they think is drones. The drones turn their lights off and take off. And can't be chased in the darkness. So, you know, they're involved. But I think there is also the FBI then opens an investigation into the drones out of the Newark office. So there's a lot of arms of the government. The White House is saying we have no evidence to suggest that it's foreign or a threat to public safety. And I think in the local government, to get to the core of your question, they're kind of taking a step back and saying, you know what? Let the feds answer this. And then the question is it a foreign incursion that could be less likely? Is it the Department of Defense red teaming some of these bases to test their reaction time and trying to keep a lid on it so it remains effective? Or is it a lot of people seeing airplanes after seeing some suspicious drones?
We will see. We will see if Secretary Mayorkas' comments tonight sort of dampens the furor that has been going on over this.
So let's bring in Mike Gasali. He's the Republican mayor of Montville, New Jersey. Mr. Mayor, thanks for joining us. You posted on X this morning, quote, "The feds can't control the airspace, so I am making an emergency declaration. No fly zone for drones over my town, Montville. Fly at your own risk. Residents, please do not discharge your weapons," unquote. This is a noteworthy step. Do you believe that these drones do, in fact, pose a threat to public safety?
Hello, Jake. So we don't know. We have seen them in the last 2 weeks. Yesterday, there were three of
We
them
don't know.
in sync, flying over the reservoir that we drink from. We don't know where they're coming from, where they are going to, if they're dropping something in the water that we drink. So the residents are genuinely in fear by not knowing what where they are coming from.
Federal Aviation Administration regulators allow operators of recreational drones to fly up to 400 feet above the ground in airspace that is not controlled by air traffic controllers. How can you enforce this drone no-fly zone in your town?
Obviously, I don't have the authority. That's a federal space. Just to bring the message that we are very frustrated. I have my own drone. If I fly it above 400 feet, like you said, I get a message that I am in violation and to drop down. They emit a frequency. We are told that these drones are about the size of a small car. They don't emit any frequencies, so they can't track them, and they can't see where they're coming from and where they are landing. They are staying in the air for about 6 hours from the briefing that we were told by the state police. But again, that's the scary part, is when they're flying over our reservoirs, over the grid that we have in here, the substations. That's what's so scary.
So that's interesting. I don't own a drone, so I've never experienced that. So you have flown your drone and maybe accidentally gone over 400 feet. What happens? Do you get an immediate text message on your phone, or is this just theoretically what happens?
No, so the phone is connected to the controller, and as soon as it hits 400 feet, it says to drop down. The rule is this has to stay within my line of sight, and obviously can't fly over the highways, over the stadiums, and I have to check an app that says before you fly to check for restricted airspace. It will just not fly. These are the rules.
So the state of New Jersey has advised the city of Belleville, New Jersey, that if local police come into contact with a downed drone, they should call the county bomb squad to respond. Have you gotten that guidance from the state of New Jersey as well?
I have not. We went to a briefing with the state police and the director of Homeland Security on Wednesday, and we were told that we know nothing, and up to this day, we still don't know anything.
Montvale, New Jersey Mayor Mike Asali, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Let's discuss this all now with Chad Wolf, former acting Homeland Security Secretary during the Trump administration and Executive Director of the America First Policy Institute. Chad, good to see you. The federal government is saying these drones pose no threat to security, or at least they're saying there's no evidence they pose a threat to security. They're not saying what they are, except they're dismissing some of these sightings as mistaken sightings of lawfully operating manned aircraft. What is your take on how these agencies, DHS and others, FAA, should be handling this crisis, or at least these questions about what's going on?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me on. I think I agree with some of the earlier reporting that talks about transparency, right? So if they are briefing members of Congress and they're telling them there's nothing to worry about, they need to be briefing the American public, right? We've now gone on weeks here, and there's been no press conference by the FBI, DHS Secretary, the Department of Transportation Secretary, or FAA. Instead, we get a press release, several days ago that says nothing, really nothing to see here. I don't know that that's enough for the American people. They want answers. If you're able to brief members of Congress and assure them, and it seems like some of them are assured after these briefings, then let's share that information with the American public. I think more transparency here helps, even if you don't know exactly what it is. But you've discounted or you've ruled out certain things. I think the American people would like to understand what exactly is going on here from a vulnerability perspective. Obviously, there's critical infrastructure throughout the state of New Jersey. There is a restricted airspace throughout the state of New Jersey. And so the American people are concerned on a variety of different fronts. And the more time that goes by without officials talking about that directly to the American people, I think builds that distrust. And I think that's a lot of what we're talking about.
Give us some possible reasons why you think, just speculate if you could, about why government officials might be reluctant to share more information publicly about the drones. I mean, it's possible, somebody posited earlier in the show that the U.S. military or U.S. officials are trying to see how alert airports would be if there were some sort of drone attack. What are some other possibilities, do you think?
Well, it's a great question. I don't know that I quite.
So the United States government is testing the readiness of our airports. They're testing the readiness of the airports. Yet they say they don't know about it. According to Jake Tapper, he's saying this may be a test. Oh man, 2025 is about to be a movie, guys. 2025 is about to be a movie. I promise you guys that. First quarter, as soon as Trump places his hand on the Bible, 2025 is about to be a movie. You better get ready.
By that, these are, airports are being tested. You can certainly do that, and we've seen that done in years past, but you don't see it on this scale. It could be open investigations. It could be a variety of different things where they don't want to reveal what they know and, of course, how they know it. Again, I think you can be more transparent. You may not be able to tell the American people everything, but the more transparent that you're able to be with them, I think starts to, relieve some of the fears.
Thank you for tuning in to the live show. You know what time it is. Shout out to Kiwi Brew. Kiwi Brew, thank you for the super chat. Shout out to Kiwi Brew one more time. Thank you for the super chat. It says, dude, what are your thoughts? I believe it's all smoke. Could hide a lot. What I believe is, look, this is cap. The government knows about it. There is no way on earth that the United States would not have control over its own airspace. This is the United States, the greatest country in the world, the most lethal military, navy, air force, space force, marines, army on earth. And yet we do not have answers to drones in New Jersey, Boston, New York. Now they're seeing some drones in California. There's no way, man. Come on, man. We landed on the moon, guys. Elon Musk is shooting the rocket into space. Okay? Shooting rocket into space, and we don't know drones flying in New Jersey? In New Jersey, bro? Come on, man.
And some of the stories and some of the presumptions that we hear about what's going on, I have found during my time that, you know, the less you communicate, the more people grow concerned, and then it starts to balloon and gets out of control a little bit. So, look, they need to figure out what's going on. I think that's first and foremost. I think it's been over a number of weeks. If it's manned aircraft, there's a very easy way to determine and to discern that. And if that's what it is, just tell the American people that's what it is. But when they're not doing that, I think people are left to guess, and that grows a lot of distrust.
The Trump administration is going to take over in a few weeks. Do you have any sense of how the new administration might address this issue, if it's still going on at the same time, or how they might handle similar situations going forward?
Well, again, I'd hope there'd be more transparency. I think, you know, President Trump would say, let someone figure it out and brief me every day until you do. And that starts to drive action. That starts to drive resources and attention on it. I'm not sure it's being given the same amount of attention. Perhaps it is, but we don't know because it's not being communicated as such. And my guess is you would have President Trump tweeting or truthing on this as well, and sharing with the American people what he knows and what he's been told. So I think there's just a different level of communication, I would guess, you know, come January, if we're still dealing with this.
Would you serve in the new Trump administration if asked?
Look, it's always an honor to serve.
Of course he would.
Particularly when asked by the president. So certainly willing to do that. But again, I'm at the America First Policy Institute, and we're doing great work here, and I'm very excited to be here as well.
Former Homeland Security Acting Secretary Chad Wolf, thanks so much. Appreciate your time.
Trump is a OG, okay? Trump is definitely an OG. Whoever he asked to come work in his administration would be honored too. It's just the facts, okay? Some people may want to save face and not, you know, act like they don't want to work with him, but they actually want to work with him. Everybody wants to work with him. Check out, what's his name? Jeff Bezos. Meta, what's his name? Mark Zuckerberg. He's now trying to work with the new administration. He's trying to work with Trump. Yet he was the one that banned Trump on Instagram, on Facebook, okay? And I think his name is Jack Dorsey. Jack Dorsey, the former CEO, the former founder of Twitter, he banned a sitting president of the United States on Twitter, and Mark Zuckerberg banned a sitting president of the United States on Facebook and on Instagram. Now everybody wants to work with him. So when people say, are you going to want to work with him if he invites you? Of course you want to work with him. Stop capping, y'all. Anyway, so you know the king of trolls, the OG, the legendary, the 45th, now the 47th. He is trolling Chris Christie. Here we go. Here we go. Here we have it, y'all. Chris Christie. So what Trump is saying now is these drones might be a McDonald's delivery to Chris Christie's home. Yo, bro. Yo, man. Trump is wild. You can look, Trump, man. That man right there, bro. Trump is the king of trolls. Like, there's nobody close. Whoever is like working with him, helping him handle social media, they are savages, bro. They are ready to get you. Like, they are the king of trolling. Whoever handles, whoever, whoever handles Trump's account, he probably, look, I'm telling you, man, Trump may be the one handling his own account by himself. Because that man is savage, bro. Like, what is this? Come on, man. What is this? Oh, man. Oh, my goodness, bro. Chris Christie, man. Come on, man, Chris Christie. How many burgers can you finish? That's what? 1, 2. How many burgers are on the table, guys? Because I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 count. No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9. Come on, Chris Christie. 9 burgers. Damn. Come on. What is going on, man? Okay, so what is Kamala talking about? Kamala is saying we will not be defeated. Girl, you already lost. I don't know what Kamala thinking, man. She already lost, man. What is she thinking is going on right here? Kamala, go home. You already lost the election. She's saying we will not lose. What? What are you talking about? Check this out, man. Check this out. Look, you can't make this up, guys. You can never make this up. She lost the popular election, and now she wants to fight back online. Stop campaigning after her election, man. It's over. It's over. Here we go.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Happy holidays. And thank you all for what you are, what you have done, what you will do. Dr. Jill Biden, let me just say, it has been an extraordinary 4 years, as you have said.
Let's go.
And the work that we have done together, the 4 of us, I wish some of you were privy to seeing just, before we come on stage, when we're hanging out in the back, or just those long nights when we're talking about what we want to get done, the challenges we face, but our commitment to seeing it through. And I'll say about Jill Biden something that probably most of you know. She's a tough cookie who cares so deeply. Jill is tough.
Here we go.
She has a tough exterior. She has one of the biggest hearts of anybody I know. She cares about the people. The way she talks, for example, about her students, the way she talks about people who are often overlooked, are just not thought of in any way that they should be. That's who Jill is. And so, Jill, it's been an extraordinary experience to work with you, and our friendship is lifelong, as you know, and I love you. Thank you. Thank you. And can we hear it again for the first, second gentleman of the United States? Also known as my Dougie. It is so good to be here with everyone this evening, including Chair Jamie Harrison, Finance Chair Chris Porge, and so many others. And we are here tonight to thank you all for the work that you have done. And it has been tireless work. When it mattered most, through the entire campaign, including those 107 days, you all rallied. You rallied. You opened your homes. You reached out to your friends and your family. You put your personal capital, and by that I mean your relationships, at stake to talk with people.
Shout out to
because
Kiwi, man.
you care so deeply, and you connected with people and took the time to remind them of what is at stake and what was at stake. You sacrificed an extraordinary amount of time, not doing other priorities in your life, to focus on this campaign and by extension to focus on our country and its future. With your help, we brought together people from every walk of life and every background, all united by a deep love of country, all motivated by enthusiasm and joy in our fight for America's future. And as a result of your leadership and your support, the National Finance Committee held more than 700 events across the country and raised nearly $700 million.
Where is the money? What did you do with the money, Con?
Achievement, which without a doubt made our campaign stronger. So I thank you again for all you have done. And I ask that everyone here, that you hold on to and know in your heart and in your spirit that everything you did made a difference and mattered and has impact that is lasting. All the work you did to bring these resources together allowed us to do rallies where people from every walk of
Yo, this looks like she's about to beg for more money. She's about to, well, let me put it in a polite way. She's about to ask for more money. She's about to ask for more money. That's what it sounds like, because she's saying the money you gave, we raised about $700 million and you still lost the election. You paid Beyonce, Oprah, Samuel L. Jackson, Megan Thee Stallion, Taylor Swift, okay, Usher, Lizzo, everybody in Hollywood campaigned for you. Man, my boy Eminem even campaigned for you. Like Eminem, though. Eminem campaigned for you and she still lost. This is how I know she could never, ever win the presidential election. I don't even know why she's considering running again in 2028. Well, she has to go through the primaries. I don't even think she can make it through the primaries. I don't know, man.
life would come. And they would look around and see that we are one community of people called Americans.
Okay.
They would look and they would see people they'd never met before and feel a sense of their own power in knowing that they are not alone.
Oh, really?
And that we are all in this together. You gave people and allowed them to have that feeling. And that can't be taken away. And as we look to the future, we will continue then to rely on your support to make sure our party can continue to do that kind of work, which is about being on the ground, being where the people are, going to them to organize and mobilize and remind people of the power of their voice.
There we go.
So look, the holiday season is one of my favorite times of year, that and my birthday. And our wedding anniversary, of course. Just gonna keep doing this whole
guys.
of course.
Yo, guys. Oh, man. Oh. Oh. Look, guys. This lady right here, man, she needs to go on Netflix, Hulu, Peacock, whatever streaming service, she can make a deal and actually do a stand-up special. She could do a stand-up special and raise a lot of money and still run for maybe the governor of California. She's probably going to win the governor of California if she runs for the governor of California. Because, I mean, California, come on. But she should actually do a stand-up comedy show on Netflix, Hulu, Peacock, or some of these streaming services because she would sell out, okay? She's too funny, yo. How did she even, get who put this lady up for the president of the United States? Man, Joe Biden, man. Goddamn Joe.
Just going to keep digging this hole deeper and deeper. But it's a time of gratitude.
What?
And a time of celebration. And so it's so important this holiday season to remember we all have so much to celebrate. We have a country we love. We have ideals that we're very clear about in terms of their importance and the importance of us fighting for those ideals. And we have each other. And our work is about being intentional about building community. Our work is about being intentional about building coalitions. Our work is fueled by our knowledge that the vast majority of us have so much more in common than what separates us. We who understand that we are all in this together. We who, as I like to say, look in the face of a stranger and see a neighbor.
Oh.
That's how we do our work. And we who know that the true measure of the strength of a leader is not based on who you beat down, it's based on who you lift up. And
bunch of BS. Bunch of BS.
That spirit, the spirit with which we do our work, and hear me when I say this, that spirit that fuels the countless hours and days and months of work that you have put into this, that spirit can never be defeated.
Actually, it has.
Our spirit is not defeated.
It already has.
We are not defeated.
You already have been.
Let's be clear about that.
You have been.
We are strong.
No, you ain't.
We are clear about why we are in this.
No, you ain't.
And because you're here right now, I say, again, thank you, because not only are you clear about all of that, you're willing to put in the hard work.
No.
And that work must continue. We cannot let any...
No, man. No. No, they ain't putting in no hard work. They already put in all the hard work for you. They gave you, they donated so much money to you that you had a lot of money to fly planes to every location that you had to be in or to be at. You had every huge top celebrity in Hollywood campaign for you. Even the Obamas campaign for you. Taylor Swift, who never endorsed anybody, endorsed you. And guess what you did? Lost. And now you're here saying we never lost. So what are you trying to say? You didn't lose the election? No, you did, man. You did, man. You definitely lost the election.
Any circumstance or situation or individual ever take away our power to know why we do what we do and our ability to then get that work done. And especially because we know what we stand for, and that's why we know what to fight for. We here believe in the promise of America. We believe in the promise of freedom, of justice, of opportunity and dignity, not just for some, but for all. We know that fighting for the promise of America takes hard work. Now, you all can help me finish this. Many of you have heard me say it. But we like hard work. Hard work is good work. Hard work is joyful work. And in the new year, we will continue our work.
No, you ain't.
With determination and with joy. So I'll close by saying this holiday season, like any time of the year, let us really be conscious of all the blessings we have. Let us celebrate the blessings we have. Let us celebrate in advance the blessings we have yet to create. And let us always remember our country is worth fighting for, and our spirit will not be defeated. And I promise you, I will be with you every step of the way.
Oh, please don't be with us.
And with that, to introduce an incredible leader who I have had the great blessing and honor and joy of working with for the last 4 years. Spending time with this leader, be it in the Oval Office, the Situation Room, or just sitting around talking about, hey, I think we can get this Inflation Reduction Act done. I think that actually people want a CHIPS and Science Act and we can get it done. I think that even though there have been, about 150 years since there's been a real upgrade on America's infrastructure, think we can get it done. Think we can get done bipartisan work around smart gun safety laws. And I'm going to tell you something about Joe Biden.
Here we go.
He is relentless. He never gives up. He cares so deeply about the American people.
And that's why it's sleeping on the
stage.
stage.
Full time.
Exactly.
In all these places that I just
sleeping
mentioned,
on
including
stages.
on the world stage.
And sleeping on the world
for the
stage.
American people, and fighting for our strength, the respect to which we are due, our honor, and our ability to have vision that actually benefits people around.
Girl, bye. Girl, please. Girl, go. Girl, bye. Please, man. We ain't hearing no more. Bye. Bunch of lies. Bidenomics is
Manhattan
working.
DA Alvin Bragg says the suspected United Healthcare CEO
What is going on with
killer
Luigi,
may
man?
waive extradition from
Do
Pennsylvania.
you guys know anything about the Luigi case? Because Luigi, man, he's making waves on
How
TikTok.
Luigi Maggioni went from a promising UPenn graduate to an alleged murderer. New York City Mayor Eric Adams thinks it could have been his education. He says, quote, Maggioni found himself hating corporations and hating other things. We're radicalizing our children in general, but specifically on these Ivy League campuses. The far left media, however, is blaming the healthcare industry, and Democrats are right there with them.
This is not to say that an act of violence is justified, but I think for anyone who is confused or shocked or appalled, they need to understand that people interpret and feel and experience denied claims as an act of violence against them.
Violence is never the answer. This guy gets a trial who's allegedly killed the CEO of United Health. But you can only push people so far.
Oh, really?
And then they start to take matters into their own hands.
Murder is murder, and it is totally unacceptable. But I think the outpouring that we have seen indicates that there's a lot of frustration and anger at a healthcare industry.
Yeah, Jackie, I kind of pull Elizabeth Warren out of that because I think she was the most egregious in there. But we look at AOC and Bernie Sanders. They're trying to kind of both sides a little bit. Do you think they have a point that somehow this is indicative, I guess, of people's sentiment?
It's not an acceptable point because every one of those sound bites started with violence is not okay or justifiable. But here's why I could understand why this young man was angry enough to go kill somebody. Listen, we have a lot of problems with our healthcare system in this country, but we do not use guns and shooting people in the back as a way to air our grievances and try to work things out. We have conversations. Government can make reform. President Trump is coming in. Hopefully he'll do some things. Ultimately, what's happening with the Democrats is they're looking at this and saying, well, people are so angry, so there is some justification for why he did this. A couple of things we do know at this early juncture in the case: he didn't even have United Health insurance. He did have some sort of a surgery, but there's no evidence that we know that he had any kind of claim denied. So we still don't really understand what his personal motive is. To bring it back to Mayor Adams and talking about the indoctrination at Ivy League schools, I think there may be something there when these professors come into the classroom and they tell you how unfair the world is and how capitalism is awful and it's evil and it's, going after the little guys. So you have kids coming up thinking that they need to take take matters into their own hands. Doing it with guns is not the way you do it. You have conversations and elicit reform.
Can I just say, Joey,
Sure.
you know what? I've been a reporter for 30 years, 23 years here at the Fox News Channel, and then before that, local stations all around the country. I've covered so many high-profile murders. I've never seen so little emphasis on the murder victim. I mean, this is a man. He is a father. He's a husband. He's a father of 2 teenage boys. They are not going to have their father for Christmas this year, next year, or any year after that, or for any other major event in their lives. And I have heard hardly any coverage on this. I am shocked.
Yeah, to go back to the point that Mayor Eric Adams made about
Like
the
nobody
UPenn
cares.
education and what's happening there.
That's just sad.
I want to show this screenshot. It's of a UPenn professor, and he's celebrating the murder on TikTok. If we can pull it up here. And so there we go. So, or it's a her, I apologize, I believe. I don't know, maybe I shouldn't say either. But if you read it there, but if you read it there, basically they're celebrating this. They're saying, you know, hey, this is a good thing, I guess. You're a well-educated guy. Is there a connection there between someone being so radicalized that they would murder someone and what we have complained on this network and on the right of indoctrination, or at least an overexposure to radical ideas in higher education?
I think that effect is real and a problem. I'm not sure we have a direct connection with this case because there's still a lot that we don't know. With this particular young man, there's rumors that he was radicalized over something else. And if you look at his social media footprint, he's kind of all over the place ideologically. He may have had some sort of surgery problem, and we don't know. So I want to be careful about that.
Yeah.
Going back to the montage that we played of those 3 legislators, they all said the word but, which is such a grotesque qualifier in this context. They are also all supporters of government-run single-payer health care. That's their alternative. That's their plan. And that's what they're sort of boosting through the back door here to say, oh, well, we don't condone murder, but under the system, people get really angry. I just want people to understand, under the Canadian or British healthcare system, which is what they want in our country, those 3 lawmakers, there are people who get denied care every single day. More frequently.
Wait time.
There's rationing all over the place done by the government, which is the final arbiter, and there's no appeal. So, you know, I think it's important to point that out. We may have issues in our system, but their alternative, their so-called solution, I think, on this front, if that's what they want to talk about, is worse. The last point I'll make was AOC saying, well, you have to understand, if you're appalled by this, people who get their claims denied, that's an act of violence to them. So sometimes violence begets violence. That's what she's trying to say. And I think that is such a Pandora's box, especially for someone in the public eye like her. What if someone who was deranged, God forbid, decided that some vote that she cast was an act of violence against them? Is that now justification to go take a pot shot at a member of Congress? Absolutely not. And to blur some of those bright lines is extremely irresponsible.
No, absolutely. It wasn't acceptable with Eric Rudolph. It wasn't acceptable when they tried to glamorize the Zarnov brothers, and it's not acceptable now. I do want to point out that the professor from UPenn, I don't know their name, so I'm not going to say it, they did apologize. But if that's their initial reaction, I think that speaks more than the apology.
Trying to save her job, I think, is what she was doing.
All right, coming up on the big weekend show.
That's just sad that people would support. I get it. You know, people are pained. People are just feeling sad. People are tired, man. People are working 2, 3, 4 jobs. I get it. You're just getting by. You know, you have to pay for health insurance, car insurance. You have to make sure everything is good. You have to pay your bills, and you got to keep going in life. Life is hard. I get it. However, it's like you can never justify killing another man. You can never justify that because that person has family. They have kids. What do you expect these kids to do? Okay, let's just say they are financially good forever. All right, let's just say yes. What about fatherly love, fatherly dance? Okay, dance with your father. Like things you're going to do with your father, like advice you're going to get from your dad. They're never going to get it because these kids are still young. They're never going to get advice from their dad. They're never going to hug their dad. They're never going to get, kisses from their dads. They're never going to get to spend and experience fatherly love and just their dad time. They're never going to have to get it anymore because he's gone. Shout out to Luigi. Okay. This is sad. And nobody's talking about the guy Everybody's just talking about Luigi. The guy actually has a family. And it's just sad, man. It is sad. It is absolutely sad. All right, more on Luigi, man. The word is just going wild. Can't even
Tonight, the
explain
accused
this shit.
CEO killer may be getting ready to head here to New York, perhaps sooner than some expected, as I have exclusive new reporting about who will be representing him when he gets here. Tonight, I can report that Luigi Mangione has retained a high-powered New York defense attorney, Karen Friedman Agnifilo, to represent him as he's facing a second-degree murder charge in the death of the United Healthcare CEO, Brian Thompson. Viewers of The Source will be very familiar with Friedman Agnifilo, who was recently a CNN legal analyst, but she's also a veteran of the New York criminal justice system. She served as the chief assistant district attorney in the Manhattan DA's office for 7 years before going into private practice. As one longtime New York prosecutor told me tonight, she knows, quote, every corridor, every judge, every clerk in the courthouse here. And she will be taking this case on at a time when investigators have amassed new evidence in recent days, with police telling CNN this week that the 3D printed gun he had on him when he was arrested matches the 3 shell casings that were found at the crime scene in Midtown Manhattan. His fingerprints also match those that investigators found on items near the scene. This is all evidence that Friedman Agnifilo said before she was retained, I should note, could potentially be a problem.
It looks to me like there might be a not guilty by reason of insanity defense that they're going to be thinking about, because the evidence is going to be so overwhelming that he did what he did.
At this hour, Luigi Mangione remains behind bars in Pennsylvania. But just today, we heard from the Manhattan District Attorney, who said that he could waive extradition, meaning he could be headed here to New York as early as Tuesday. My sources tonight on the breaking news are CNN's chief law enforcement and intelligence analyst and also the former NYPD Deputy Commissioner, John Miller, retired NYPD captain and author of The Guns of Antwerp, John Monahan, as well as former federal prosecutor and CNN legal analyst, Jennifer Rogers. It's great to have you all here, especially on this breaking news that now he has retained a New York attorney. Previously, he had Thomas Dickey in Pennsylvania, who we heard from this week, but everyone was kind of looking to see who was going to be representing him and taking this case on in New York. Tell us what that means as this comes at a time as we're hearing from Alvin Bragg about potentially waiving extradition.
Yeah, well, the extradition piece in Pennsylvania is really a non-event. Most defendants waive it because all it is proving that the guy that New York wants is the guy that Pennsylvania has. It's just an identity thing. There's really no question here when you see all the things that he was arrested with that tie him to the scene of the crime, et cetera. They have the right guy. So really what you want is a lawyer who can take you through the real case, right? The pretrial and, of course, the trial. And Karen is the sort of person with all of her many years of experience as a trial lawyer and in this actual courthouse and in this actual office, that's the sort of person you want.
Yeah, and she does have a wealth of experience in it, as we were talking about what that looks like. I mean, she was about to be intimately familiar with this again, John, because we've been talking, based on your reporting, of just the evidence that they are amassing and what kind of case they're already building behind the scenes.
I mean, they have a gun on him in Pennsylvania, allegedly, that matches to the ballistics at the scene. They have a 3-page letter on him, which the police are describing as a claim of responsibility, where he talks about the what and the why. They have fingerprints that are on his fingers that allegedly match fingerprints that are on a phone discarded at the scene, a water bottle, and a power bar wrapping. So when you get to the elements of a good prosecution, forensic evidence, motive, means, opportunity, as Karen framed in her interview before she was representing him, it's all there. Now, it doesn't mean it can't be challenged. That's what a trial's about.
Yeah, well, and obviously being intimately familiar with that, how will that serve her potentially as in terms, or serve him, I should note, as the client here, as he's going to be, you know, if this delay that they're having with him getting from Pennsylvania to New York is about to be over, you know, what do the next steps in this process look like for him?
Well, they're going to extradite him, and it was just a matter of time. And now it's just a matter of transporting him over there and getting him into the New York City system. I'm just very disappointed that we didn't have a chance. You know, if you notice, there was a delay in charging him when he was first arrested. They didn't level the charges in New York until that evening. That was to give our detectives a chance to get in the box with him and speak with him. Because once you file, you know this, Jen, once you file an accusatory instrument, the absolute right to counsel attaches. Now we can't question him without his attorney sitting there. There was a window.
But you could have before.
Oh, yes, that's why we don't charge right away. You look at the timing. Pennsylvania locked him up. They tried to talk to him. He lawyered up. They charged him an hour later. It's exactly how that works. So our guys come in. We didn't charge him right away. Now, he has a right to counsel out of Pennsylvania because they filed charges. We didn't file charges yet. So we want to get an experienced detective in a box with him and see if he'll talk. And if you get a real good experienced detective in that box, this kid, I think, wanted to talk. It's a shame that we missed that window. They must have tried for a few hours because they didn't charge him and file accusatory instrument, which attaches the right to counsel, until that evening. There's a lot we could have gotten. But now for the New York case, you know, like the science didn't catch this guy. We only had partial prints. We had ballistics that matched absolutely nothing because the gun didn't exist. Police worked that photo, the person, that's how they caught this guy. Now that we have a subject, now we can take his prints, match it to the partial. We can take his gun, match it to the ballistics. This is all evidence going forward.
Take his DNA, match it to the DNA.
Right.
Which is what they're doing. But on that note, on that point about being able to have a chance to talk with him, he was initially cooperative, and then later we learned, I think pretty quickly on, he stopped being so. I mean, that could have been incredibly valuable for them.
It is, but you know, the thing that always boggles my mind about this case is why he had all this stuff with him. I mean, in some ways, he obviously was an intelligent kid. He had all of this education, high marks, and so on. He committed this crime. The execution of it showed a lot of planning. You know, he's a sharp kid, and yet he is found in a McDonald's with all of these things on him, right? These papers, the gun. Why he didn't ditch that stuff right away is beyond me. He must have just at some point, once he gets caught, he realizes what's happening. He knows he needs to be quiet. I mean, you don't have to be that smart to realize you need to ask for a lawyer.
And the warrants they're getting now, you know, he was on a laptop when they found him in the McDonald's. He had a phone. As they've been sifting through that, John, where does that stand, one? And two, have they figured out yet who he was on the phone with that day, that morning when we saw him walking to be outside of the Hilton Hotel?
That would be the focus of the search warrant to get into the burner phone. I don't know at what point they either did or failed to get into that phone, but the team that does that is pretty experienced, and that phone's probably easier than most. So don't know that. The warrant to get into the laptop is going to be critical because, you know, as we reported, he was on that laptop in the McDonald's. So you really want to know, what was he doing? Arranging his escape, tracking his next victim, looking at CNN.com to see if, you know, there was reports about either his crimes or that police were closing in. It would be interesting to get in there. The other warrant they did was, and this is counterintuitive, they got a search warrant for Brian Thompson, the victim's hotel room, because at the earliest stage of the case, while they wanted to know this guy in the video, who's he talking to on the phone and who is he, they wanted to know, is there something in Brian Thompson's room, a note, a message that says, you know, meet me downstairs at 644, or a number or a name, and that's what they were trying to do.
Did they find anything from that, from what you've heard?
Nothing of substantive value that I'm aware of that led to the identification of the suspect.
Yeah.
You know, he had all the stuff to prepare for his conference there.
And the other interesting detail today that came from the San Francisco Chronicle is San Francisco police identified the suspect 4 days before he was captured and arrested. They passed that information on to the FBI. Eric Adams on Saturday seemed to indicate that they kind of knew who this was, but obviously it wasn't until a few days later that they actually arrested him. What happens there in terms of police in San Francisco pass along this tip? Obviously, they're getting a lot of stuff, but this was who it was, actually.
Right, and of course, they didn't know that. And they had, as John and I were talking before we came on, they had hundreds of tips similar to that. But this one came from a cop who, as you said, interviewed his mother. Her mother knows her son.
When she filed the missing persons report.
Right. Apparently filed it in San Francisco because that's where he was last seen. Well, I won't say it's shocking, but I understand the way the FBI works in comparison to the way the local police department works. There's a lot of bureaucracy there. Like, if I have something on my case that came up, oh, Jen needs this for her case, I can just lean over and hand it to you. The FBI's got to go 3 flights up, 2 hallways down, 3 flights down. They can't, they have rules of engagement with each other. So that information was properly sent from the FBI San Francisco office to the FBI New York office, and it was being processed. And then we caught him before they alerted us. It's kind of cumbersome. It's a bureaucratic nightmare, but no one ignored it or dropped the ball on it. It was being processed in accordance with their rules.
And it did make its way over to the squad, so comes out of San Francisco PD Friday. It goes to the San Francisco FBI office. They ship it to the FBI New York office, who does a workup on it on Saturday. Sunday, the NYPD detectives have it, but then it's in the pile of 200 similar leads. And what Eric Adams was talking about was, we don't want to let the person know we know. That was an entirely different suspect, who at that time was the top suspect, who has since washed out. But that's the nature of these cases. Needles, haystacks, and moments of destiny and luck after a lot of hard work.
Yeah, clearly. Commissioner Captain, Jennifer, great to have you all with your expertise here at the table.
Everybody's talking about Luigi. His life has changed forever for the worse. Sorry, my dog. He could have made a better decision, man. He could have made a better decision. Okay, so there is this story right here I want to share with you guys. Take a look at this.
I do want to get to another big story that we have been covering. Again, we've been talking a lot about the murder of the United Healthcare CEO. A Florida woman has now been charged with threatening her health insurance provider during a phone conversation after police say she uttered the same words that were found on the bullet casings used in the killing of an insurance executive in New York. Brianna.
There we have it. It's on, guys. People are making stupid decisions. This Floridian has been charged with threatening health insurer, but the same words that Luigi wrote in his manifesto. What is going on? I get it. The people are not happy with the insurance companies and they're feeling like they're being cheated on. Of course, okay, I get it. But this is in the way. Like they always say, the saying, 2 wrongs cannot make it right.
Boston, 42 years old, told a representative of Blue Cross Blue Shield, quote, delay, deny, depose, you people are next, as they ended a phone call Tuesday in which she unsuccessfully challenged the company's denial of her insurance claim. Those allegations coming from police in Lakeland, Florida. The words delay, deny, and depose were written on the casings left at the scene of the shooting of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson on a New York City street back on December 4th. The words reflect the delay, deny, defend strategy that some insurance companies use in dealing with expensive claims, delay the decision, deny the claim, and aggressively defend themselves. Our Fox 13 Tampa team has more.
A 42-year-old married mother of 3 from Lakeland was in court charged with threats to conduct an act of terrorism and a mass shooting for a phone call with a healthcare agent.
Charges written threat to kill or injure, conduct a mass shooting or an act of terrorism. That's a second-degree felony, punished by 15 years in Florida State Prison.
She's accused of threatening the Blue Cross Blue Shield employee using the now infamous language associated with the accused United Healthcare CEO killer. Brianna Boston admitted to saying, delay, deny, depose, you people are next. We spoke with a lawyer about the case.
I think it's an overcharge. In reality, there's nothing in her communication that specifically says she's going to commit a mass shooting. I think it's more falls on that free speech line, on that protected speech. Although stupid, although ignorant, something you shouldn't say. The law allows you to say stupid, ignorant things, and even violent things, as long as it's not what's called a true threat.
He said a true threat would be to a particular person or a more actionable statement. He likened her angry language to what thousands are posting on social media this week.
If you post something stupid on Twitter and it's read by somebody who may work for some company and they're taking it as a threat, then are we going to go and arrest every person on Twitter because they say stupid things? And this case really is that. It's somebody who talked to an individual who she doesn't know,
lawyer right
has
there.
never met, has never probably even spoken to, and said words that a lot of people are uttering on social media.
Still, the judge in her first court appearance setting bond at $100,000, referencing the tensions in the U.S. around healthcare right now.
I do find that the bond of $100,000 is appropriate considering the status of our country at this point.
I think that works better for her in reality, because it goes back to her saying this is political hyperbole. This is me expressing my frustration.
And that was our Fox 13 Tampa team with that report. You are taking a live look over New York City.
So King says, I agree with this guy's point. Freedom of speech, I get it. But if you're saying the same words a killer said to another insurance company, knowing fully well Luigi committed that offense, well, it's a murder, to United Healthcare CEO, who was an insurance CEO, and now she's saying that those same words to Blue Cross Blue Shield. I mean, come on, man. You may be found guilty. I mean, this is fresh. If you said it on social media, facts, okay. But if you're saying it directly to an insurer on the phone, I mean, that's direct threat. Online is like generalization. You're just generalizing it. But directly to someone on the phone while the person may have said something you don't agree with, it's like, okay, maybe you weren't going to be, covered for something. It's like, you know what? You guys are next. What? Come on.
City, as we know that Luigi Mangione could actually give up his extradition fight. That is according to Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg. Our Fox 5 New York station has the latest on that and when we could see Mangione return to New York.
At a public safety press conference today, Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg addressing the status of extraditing Luigi Mangione to New York.
Indications are that the defendant may waive, but that waiver is not complete until a court proceeding, which my understanding from court officials in Pennsylvania cannot happen until Tuesday. So until that time, we're going to continue to press forward on parallel paths.
Meanwhile, the San Francisco Chronicle is reporting a San Francisco police officer contacted the FBI the same day these surveillance pictures were released by the NYPD on December 5th. It was one day after the murder. It reports the officer recognized Mangione's face after his mother reported him missing to San Francisco PD last month. And the officer thought Mangione might be the murder suspect. However, when police arrested Mangione in Pennsylvania 4 days later, the NYPD said it did not have his name or know who he was until after his arrest. Fox 5 reached out to the FBI, which issued this statement saying, in part, a tip was received from the San Francisco Police Department regarding the possible identity of the suspect. FBI New York conducted routine investigative activity and referred this and other leads to the New York City Police Department as part of our assistance to them in their investigation. Since his arrest, Mangione has become a cult hero for some. People are even celebrating him. Mayor Adams on a local web talk show today denouncing that behavior.
We can't send a signal that if you're angry over something, if you're angry because you got a parking ticket, you respond with violence. If you're angry because you didn't get the grades you wanted in school, or you're angry because the doctor didn't treat you accordingly, this is not the response.
Of course, this is not the response we want from our fellow citizens, our fellow Americans. However, it's like, this is the time for the leaders, these people on top, to start taking accountability. I 100%, denounce or disagree. I do not support Luigi's actions, okay? However, people are tired. People are just tired, man. People are tired and tired and tired. So, two wrongs don't make it right. Two wrongs do not make it right. So, everybody adjust and adapt. and stop being kind to your fellow brothers and sisters, okay? To the fellow citizens. Let's stop being kind. This is the time to be kind. Okay?
Do want to get to another big story that we have been covering here over the past couple weeks at this point. New information does continue to emerge in the murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. The man accused in the fatal shooting, Luigi Mangione, could be transported from Pennsylvania to New York City as early as Tuesday to face a murder charge. The information provided by Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg, who said the 26-year-old could waive extradition, meaning he would give up his right to a hearing on the issue and be moved over to New York. Multiple media outlets, including ABC News, allege via sources that Mangione may have traveled by train out of New York City after the murder rather than bus, which is what was originally assumed. The New York City Police Department has not confirmed that to be the case, though. We're keeping in touch with them for updates. Now, NYPD Chief of Detectives Joseph Kenney did reveal that Mangione was not a client of United Healthcare, but mentioned the insurance company in a note found with him during his arrest at a McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania, about 230 miles from the crime scene. The city's police commissioner told reporters a gun found on Mangione during his arrest matches shell casings that were found at the site of the shooting, seen right there in that video. Mangione does remain jailed in Pennsylvania without bond, where he was arrested on gun and forgery offenses. As I mentioned, he could potentially be moved over to New York very soon. So much to discuss as always, so I do want to bring in Jillian Snyder, a former NYPD officer. She's also the policy director of R Street's Criminal Justice and Civil Liberties team and an adjunct lecturer over at John Jay College of Criminal Justice. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us and help break it all down.
Thanks, Josh.
Of course. Well, first off, one of the questions that a lot of people have asked is related to that witness that was in the video, the surveillance video that we just showed you, who kind of runs off to the side. I did want to ask you and get your take. Is it likely that police are trying to track down that person, and do they need to track down that person?
Absolutely, they would be looking for this witness. I'm sure they are looking for anyone that was in that general vicinity that morning. And I'm also sure that they are looking for anyone that may have been on Mangione's escape route. At this point, with the evidence that the NYPD as well as other law enforcement agencies have collected, having corroboration from witnesses is important. But I do think the amount of evidence they have so far is outstanding. They will be looking for these witnesses, but I don't think that having that person is critical to the case at this point.
From what we know about Luigi Mangione, he was an Ivy League student. He's now accused, as you know, of murder. How does someone, and again, he is innocent until proven guilty, but how does someone go from, let's say, an Ivy League student to what would appear to be a calculated assassin based on what police are saying?
Well, looking at it.
And this is what people are saying, like, this guy is a straight A student, smart, brave guy. It's like, how did he go from the University of Pennsylvania, an Ivy League school, a guy who is bright upstairs, who is doing great in school, has always done great in school, goes from that to this? What must have happened? If this is truly the guy, what must have happened? Did he go through some psychological episode? Did he become some sort of psycho in like the time his mom filed for a missing person? Because according to the news we are getting, it is that his friends said he just checked out. Nobody knew where he was. Nobody knew what he was doing. His parents also filed. His mom also filed for a missing person. So what? Did he just... Did his switch just turn on in his head? Did his switch turn on in his head? And is that going to factor... If this is the guy, is that going to be a factor when they're actually litigating these issues in court? Are they going to say, you know what, this guy is in right upstairs?
through a criminological lens. I teach criminology at John Jay College, so often what we do is we try and dissect the motivation or the criminogenic behavior of someone who commits crime. In this case, it's not very typical for someone of this person's background. What we know thus far, he's 26, he comes from a well-to-do family, he's never been in trouble with the law to my knowledge, Ivy League educated, very smart. His crime and the way in which he carried out his crime also shows us that he's calculated and sophisticated to an extent, but it is very atypical for someone of his age and background to wake up one morning and commit a crime like this. But what people are speculating is due to his health injury or his back injury. That could have been something that caused this stressor or this strain, and that is what led him to ultimately carry this out.
One thing we were mentioning here off the top is that Bragg, the Manhattan DA, does say it is possible that essentially Mangione could give up that extradition fight and go there back to New York. I did want to get your take here on whether it makes the investigation maybe a little more complicated when you have different jurisdictions that are involved, especially when you're talking about two different states, because the crime happened in New York City, and then you have over in Altoona, Pennsylvania, that is where the suspect was arrested. So does that make it any more difficult?
It spreads out the jurisdictional area that law enforcement will now have to scour through for additional evidence. In terms of logistics and legality, it doesn't make it that much more difficult. There are many criminals who commit a crime somewhere and they cross state lines and eventually will need to be extradited. In this case, all week, what we've heard is Mangione's attorney was saying he was not going to waive extradition originally and that he was going to plead not guilty to all charges. I have heard recent updates that his lawyer may be considering, like you said, either waiving the extradition hearing because it looks like the governor is going to sign off on a warrant to bring him back to New York. No matter what, though, he's held in on bond in Pennsylvania for the forgery charges, for the possession of a weapon charge, as well as the silencer, and then he's facing murder 2 charges here. So at this point, I don't really think logistically it's a challenge for the NYPD or law enforcement. It's just prolonging the process.
When you were working with the NYPD, did you ever experience a crime of this magnitude? Obviously, there is crime there in New York City, but did you ever see something like this kind of play out?
Nope.
I worked in Brooklyn and the Bronx over the course of my career, so I unfortunately did see a lot of murder, but I never saw a murder to this extent. Most of the crime of murder that I dealt with was either a retaliatory crime, a gang-related crime, a narcotics-related crime, but in most situations, both the offender and the victim were known to each other. Of course, I did see random acts of violence where someone was killed, but I never saw something like this carry out where an individual chose a target that he did not know, had no prior relationship with, but instead sought him out for his specific mission.
For people who are maybe not familiar with Midtown Manhattan, we've talked a lot about it, you and I here over the last week or so. Can you describe to people really what that area is like? I'm going to pop up an image here showing right outside the Fox Studios in New York, which isn't too far away necessarily. Can you explain Midtown Manhattan and just the area in general?
So that area, like I said last week, it covers 43rd Street on the south end all the way up to Central Park, and then it covers from Lexington Avenue all the way to the Hudson. So it's a relatively large in size jurisdiction. It's one of the most populated in terms of tourism. We have Rockefeller Center. I was actually down at Rockefeller Center yesterday for another interview, and I could tell you there were thousands of people, especially this time of year, coming in to see the Christmas tree. But on top of that, you have the theater district, you have restaurants, you have hotels. So it's not only residentially populated and very condensed office buildings.
Thank you for tuning into the live show. You know what time it is. It is your boy Genesis. Okay, I get it. It is Christmas time, the holidays, the best time of the year. Families are having a good time, traveling, getting ready to travel with the family, and just have a wonderful time. But this is what I don't get, okay? People traveling to go see Christmas trees. I don't know, maybe because I'm a guy. What am I doing traveling to go see Christmas trees, bro? But okay. I got a 5-year-old daughter, and I know for a fact she would love to go see Christmas trees. But I'm just saying, like, I would never in my entire existence. Just think to myself, I said, oh, I want to go see the Christmas tree. What?
But you have a high level of tourism and visitors. In terms of crime, though, the crime numbers this year are a little different than years past. There have been an increase in robberies in that area, but they're not on par with the rest of the city. If you look at it in comparison to 4 years ago, we are doing much better. But again, you will see a lot of security, heightened NYPD presence at this time of year because of the tree.
One thing that was interesting is our Fox 5 New York station obtained a photo of a bag of bullets that was found dumped in Central Park. Now, initially, it sounded as though police were investigating to see whether or not this was connected to the fatal shooting of Brian Thompson, but later determined it was not. But one thing that stood out to me is police had said, we find bullets like this quite a bit there in Central Park. How often is that happening, that police or other people there are stumbling upon bullets in Central Park?
Crazily, you will find a lot of things in Central Park. It's the largest park we have, and we see a lot of people randomly walk through it. You could cut across town by going through the park, driving through the park. It is not rare to find bullets. I found bullets on the streets in the Bronx on a routine basis, but in Central Park, I will tell you, you will find a lot of crazy things.
As far as where things go from here, can you break down what police, and again, you're not involved, of course, in this investigation, but can you break down what it's likely NYPD and other law enforcement are doing behind the scenes? Because they've released so much information here, but obviously they have to keep a lot under wraps as well. So what is likely going on behind the scenes?
Well, we know that the NYPD and other law enforcement officials were trying to speak to the Mangione family and any extended relatives that he has. At this point, it looks like they have been unsuccessful. My assumption is the family has retained counsel and have been advised to not speak to law enforcement. But other than that, we know that law enforcement agencies are going to be scouring Mangione's entire life. They're going to be looking into where he worked, where he went to school. His landlord that I know made comment to police already. They're going to talk to friends. We know that there was a gap in the time period from the last time he spoke to his.
Can you imagine how the Mangione family is feeling right now? You see the type of shame he's put them in. If this is actually the guy, he's put them in so much shame. So much shame. It's like the Mangione family will be known for this. He actually has brothers or uncles that are actually into politics. I think it's a congressman or something like that. I don't know, a lawyer or something like that. But his family is actually okay. They're like Gucci. Okay, they're not, Bill Gates, but they're not the regular. Okay, they're not regular degglers. They're actually rich folks. Okay, he definitely wasn't getting denied by United Healthcare, and he wasn't even with United Healthcare. So I don't know why this happened. He did, there were reports that he had surgery done for his back, but I don't know why this would be something Luigi would have done, but this is wild. This is absolutely wild.
Family till currently. So we know that they're going to be trying to piece together what was going on during that time. But more importantly, they're going to look at how did someone like this at this age, which is very uncommon to just wake up and become a murderer. They're going to try and find what was that trigger point in his life that caused him to commit this crime.
A last question for you here. What kind of question or questions do you maybe hope will be answered? Again, a lot of this does have to remain under wraps, though police have released a lot of information. So what question or questions do you hope are going to be answered to the public, us included here, in the near future?
Well, as you said earlier, the NYPD has already released that Mangione was not a client of United Healthcare. So with that being said, obviously he has some animosity towards the healthcare industry, but what in particular caused him to carry out this crime on this victim? So I think that's like the most pressing question that everyone's going to want to know.
True.
All right, Jillian Snyder, thank you so much for taking the time to join us and help break it down. Obviously, A lot of developments here and a lot of information still left to figure out. Is there anything else you want to add before I let you go?
No, I just want to say that the public did an amazing job, particularly that worker at McDonald's. I said last week on the show, if you see someone that you think may even slightly resemble this suspect, call it in, allow law enforcement to do their job and rule out a suspect. But if you see something, always say something.
All right, Jillian, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Josh.
And I do want to talk a little bit more about the case, as we do have another update in the murder of Brian Thompson. The FBI now confirming the San Francisco Police Department first provided the tip to the FBI that helped to identify Luigi Mangione as the suspected gunman days before that arrest took place over at McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania. Our Fox 2 San Francisco team spoke with the FBI's New York office, the Bureau confirming that a San Francisco police investigator recognized photos of Mangione from a missing persons poster after the 26-year-old's mother reported him missing last month. The investigator provided the tip to the NYPD on the day of the shooting. It's not clear if Mangione was ever in San Francisco, though. Now, he did reportedly work for a company called TrueCar, which is based over in Santa Monica, but at one point did have an office in San Francisco. That office, we're told, is now permanently closed. Jessica Formoso with our Fox 5 New York team has more on the situation developing there out of San Francisco.
The San Francisco Chronicle reporting that 4 days before Luigi Mangione was arrested, a San Francisco police officer contacted the FBI, telling them one of their officers recognized Mangione after seeing these surveillance photos the NYPD had released of the suspect. Mangione's face was known to the San Francisco PD because his mother had reported him missing less than a month before he allegedly gunned down United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson outside the Hilton Hotel in Midtown. The FBI says it passed along the information to the NYPD. However, after the suspect was arrested on December 9th in Pennsylvania, the NYPD said they did not have Mangione's name before his arrest. Fox 5 reached out to the FBI. It issued this statement saying, in part, a tip was received from the San Francisco Police Department regarding the possible identity of the suspect. FBI New York conducted routine investigative activity and referred this and other leads to the New York City Police Department as part of our assistance to them in their investigation, stopping short of saying whether it shared the tip about Mangione's identity with the NYPD before or after his arrest. A top law enforcement official is now telling Fox 5 the information the FBI gave the NYPD about Mangione's identity was among hundreds of tips, including from other law enforcement, and the NYPD followed up on those leads. Michael Alcazar is a retired NYPD detective.
If the FBI is giving you a tip, that should be your number one. You should investigate all leads, but if the FBI is giving you, hey, yeah, we have a missing person, and an investigator, I said that looks like the guy that we have missing, I would run with that before any other unvetted tip from like a civilian, calling a Crime Stoppers tip.
Meanwhile, Mangione is being held in Altoona and could waive extradition to New York City as early as Tuesday.
Indications are that the defendant may waive, but that waiver is not complete until a court proceeding, which my understanding from court officials in Pennsylvania cannot happen until Tuesday. So until that time, we're going to continue to press forward on parallel paths.
Thank you for tuning in to the live show. You know what time it is. It is your boy, Genesis. Look, life is hard. I get it. But don't make stupid, silly decision that you're going to regret. Okay? Think about your loved ones. Think about your girl. Think about your husband. Think about your kid. Think about your parent. Think about your family and friends. Think about your colleagues. Think about your society. Think about life. Okay? Just don't make stupid decisions. Okay? Because life is hard. I know you got to do what you got to do because, it is what it is. But sometimes just take a deep breath and step back and relax, okay? Sometimes just sitting on your couch, watching a TV show or watching a channel like this can save you from trouble, from making stupid decisions that would get you in a big trouble. You would just be like, yo, I was watching Genesis channel, man, and I didn't go out. And you just got saved from total BS. So, sometimes we just gotta chill, relax, let people outside do what they do outside. Okay? Now, I'm not saying don't go outside. I'm just saying sometimes you gotta relax, calm down, and stay out of trouble. Okay? Because life is short. You never know. There are people who love you and are praying for you and are wishing you well right here, right now, today. Okay? The best thing we can do for those types of people in our lives is to be the best we can be. Okay? Nobody has the manual for life. Okay? Nobody knows exactly what they're doing. Everybody's just riding this wave, bro. Everybody's just riding the wave. We don't know exactly what we're doing. There's no manual. Okay? Of course, people believe in religion, the Bible, Christianity, Muslims, Buddhism, or whatever. Okay. Everybody believes in something. Okay. However, it's like we're just trying our best. Okay. If you're a good person, if you're kind, God is going to love you. God loves you regardless. Okay. God is going to take care of you. Just be yourself. Love your neighbors. Treat everybody with so much kindness because you never know what people are going through in life. Life is hard, y'all. Especially now, people are doing 2, 3, 4 jobs just to get on with life, just to pay bills, just to get on with utility bills, just to be able to get on with life. Okay? So, man, somebody says, is Amanda Libby still in Muddy? King, yes, she is. I don't know where she is. I don't think she's on the live stream, though. Yeah, King. Do you know her? Let me know in the chat, man. Shout out to Amanda Libby. Yeah, she is, man. She is. Let me know. Yeah, man. I just wanted to come out here, have a conversation with you guys. I wasn't even gonna come up here, but see how God works. I came up here and we had a good time. And shout out to everybody for tuning in, man. Shout out to King. Shout out to 550 Beans. Shout out to James Norman. Shout out to Mike Kirk. Shout out to the Super Chatter. Everybody, you can super chat, okay? We have been monetized on YouTube. You can super chat. Shout out to Kiwi Brew for $20 super chat. Shout out to Kiwi Brew for $20 super chat. You are awesome, Kiwi. If you're still here, God bless you, Kiwi. Thank you so much. God bless you, man. What else? Yes, we're gonna be back. Okay, let's get the likes to 100 likes real fast. Okay, we got 92 likes right now. Everybody, double tap your screen right now. Double tap your screen right now. Let's get it to 100 likes. Okay, let's get the likes to 100 likes, and that would be it. Do I still want to do one more on Luigi? Because I just feel so sad for this dog, bro. This is like a young guy living life. All of a sudden, it's changed the trajectory of his life. Whoa, King says he's known Amanda Libby for a couple of years now. That's wild. I just started streaming on YouTube like in July. Like, I would say August, okay, in this December. I started really streaming every single day in August. And yeah, Amanda just, Amanda tuned in sometimes around September, October. Sometimes maybe October. But I've been streaming every day. It's like I've been doing this for like a year, but actually I started doing this in August. Oh man. Yeah, tomorrow morning we're gonna do a very interesting stream. Because it's been a long time I streamed. I haven't streamed in 2 days. Let me go check when last I streamed, man. I haven't streamed in 2 days, guys. Let me go see. Your boy haven't streamed in 2 days. Yeah, I haven't streamed in 2 days. And it's like, whoa. Man. I haven't streamed in 2 days, man. Yeah, the last time I streamed was 3 days ago. Yeah, 3 days ago. So I haven't streamed in 3 days. So you guys, thank you for tuning in, man. You guys are the best. Also, I posted in those 3 days, I've actually posted 6 videos on my video page. So now you're on the live page, okay? So you could go on the video page, which is like home video shorts live. Okay, so you could, if you like go back, you go to the videos. I posted 2 videos today, 3 videos yesterday. So you guys can watch those videos. Yeah, I spoke about Stephen A. Smith and how he spoke about the FBI and J6ers. I also spoke about Kamala Harris and how she says she's coming back for 2028. I spoke about the border wall and how maybe Joe Biden administration may be selling the border wall material for $5. It's like, godly, is that even true? Is that because the former president, the 45th, now the 47th president elect, he's saying that Joe is advocating for unity, saying he wants to make it a peaceful transition for the Trump's administration. Yet he's selling the border wall. This is what the 47th said on Truth Social. Also, ABC to pay $15 million to the OG, the legend, the 47th, Donald John Trump. Okay? And also to pay $1 million in lawyer fees to Trump. Also to apologize or to issue a statement of regret to Trump. So ABC and George Stephanopoulos have to apologize to Trump and pay $16 million in total. That's wild. The OG just winning, man. Trump has been winning like back to back to back to back to back. God, man, I need some of that grace. All right, with that being said, man, I just want to say you guys are the best. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Instead of looking for perfection, seek for consistency. Never give up on yourself. Never give up on your dreams. Never give up on God. Believe in yourself. Believe in your dreams. And believe in God, okay? Never ever give up. Stay strong. Stay strong, guys. It's hard, but stay strong, okay? You're going to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And even if you don't see the lights, keep believing. Because you never know when your life is just going to turn around, when the changes is going to happen. Just like that. Okay? The change happens when you're not even thinking about it. When you're thinking about the change, it may never happen. But if you're just doing what you're doing, keep believing in yourself, never quitting, so much grit and bravery. Grit and bravery, guys. Keep going. All right? Just keep going, man. Look, I don't mean to give you a pep talk this morning. It is Monday and the time is 5:46 a.m. Today's date is the 16th of December 2024. We got how many days to go? We got what? Like 24 days. Am I right? No. We got like, is that 14 days? We got 14 days to the end of the year? Dang. We got 14 days to the end of the year, guys. What do you guys have planned for Christmas? What do you guys have planned for the new year? 2025, we are about to do great things, guys. 2025 is going to be a year that we're never going to forget. Okay? The OG is coming back to the White House. And, this is just a little prayer for you guys. As the OG is coming back to the White House, so will grace, favor, blessings, money, financial blessings follow you and your family this new year coming up. Okay, you guys are going to be protected by God, okay, by the Most High, by the universe, okay, by the highest power. And, may God protect you and your family, man. Your moms, your dad, your kids, your grandmas, your grandpas, your family members, everybody around you that you love. Okay, I'm not a pastor, okay? I'm just being positive. I just want to share a little light, okay? Because everything seems dark. Okay, we've been streaming and talking about Luigi, but for a minute, let's just bring it back to real life, okay? And see the struggle people are going through, and just share a little light, man. Share a little light, and share a little vibes, positivity. All right. King says no plans really. Shout out to King. King says he has no plan for Christmas. Man, I wanted to buy my daughter a dog, but I'm not sure. It's so many things to handle, so I don't know if I'm gonna be able to buy the dog. But my goal is to actually buy her a dog for Christmas. But if I don't get her a dog, she's 5 years old. I wanted to get her like a golden doodle, but that's like I was figuring out how to buy the golden doodle, and I saw it was like 2,500. I said, "What? 2,500? Like almost $3,000 for a golden doodle dog?" I said, "Golly, yeah, that's expensive." But that was what I wanted. I mean, I don't care about me talking about Christmas. Look, bro, I'm a full grown man. I got responsibilities to handle. I'm not thinking about Christmas for myself. Okay. But I got a 5-year-old daughter. I have to think about my daughter, I think about her being happy, and, Santa is coming to leave me a present at the Christmas tree, and all that stuff. So that was my plan for her. But now, last year I got her a flat screen TV for her room. So this year, I don't know what I'm gonna do. If I cannot get the dog, I don't know, man. Because our birthday was in October, and I got her a what you call this stuff? Um, what you call this stuff? Uh, Binoculars. I got her binoculars for her birthday in October. So I don't know what I'm gonna get her now for Christmas. I know for a fact that 2,500 for a golden doodle is definitely too expensive. I mean, God. Let's see how it goes, though. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it goes. God is great. God is great. That's all I can say. God is great. And yeah, man. Everybody double tap your screen right now. Double tap your screen. Let's get the likes up. Everybody double tap your screen twice. Double tap your screen twice. And let's get the likes up. James says divided we fall, united we stand. Absolutely, James. Uh uh McAllister. McAllister. I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right. McAllister says well, we all have 4 years of pure hell. Are you saying we will have 4 years of pure hell? I don't think so. King says, I don't know if she's old enough, but maybe computer. Computer. Oh, yeah. She's been talking about having a computer. Daddy, I want to work on a computer. Well, I have 2 computers right here, okay? So I have one that I'm streaming with right now because we're streaming both ways, horizontal and vertical. And I have like what do you call this stuff? Like a HD Logi webcam on the computer, and then I'm using the computer's webcam as well. So I'm streaming vertical and horizontal. And then I also have this guy right here that I am like watching the stream with. So she sort of kind of have like computers to work with. However, it's like, every time I go to Best Buy to like get gadget like mic or, just regular random stuff, she wants to go to the computer aisle and like play with the computers. But she's 5 years old. I don't think a computer is like what she needs. But this is the computer age, or this is the artificial intelligence age. Anything is possible. These kids are growing up in a different time, and yeah, this is the time to expose them to as much as they can, while still, grounding them in reality and the do's and don'ts of life, and just giving them life's lesson, cherishing um real life activities, not just computer stuff. Uh, yes, King says maybe a video game console, Xbox, PlayStation. I think we should. I think. Well, I don't know. I really don't know right now. James, God, James says kids are literally learning algebra 2 by age 2. God, man, age 2, man, that's wild. Like my daughter is 5. She knows how to write her name. She knows how to write all like the alphabets. She knows addition. She knows uh subtraction. She knows there's minus and plus, right? And she knows a little bit of math. She knows English for sure. But algebra, yeah, that's wild. Yeah, that's why, bro. Joshua said, "No way." Yeah, I mean at 2, bro. You can't even talk at 2. Like kids don't even talk at 2, bro. Yeah, I don't know for now, man. But let me, if you guys have any ideas for, she's a girl, so yeah. If you have any ideas for a 5-year-old girl Christmas gift, you can put it in the chat, man. I don't know. James says, I'm teaching my child right now basically basic math, and he's only 2. Like basic math, like 2 plus 2, 4, 4 minus 2, 2. Is that what you mean? Like basic math? That's what you mean? Yeah, okay. There is videos up on autism. Yeah, my daughter, like, she doesn't need pen and paper to do like plus and minus. Like, you could ask my daughter 5 plus 4, she's gonna tell you 9. I mean, she's 5 years old. She's not 2 years old. At 2, she was spelling her name because her name is just what? Bloom, Bloom. So that's like 5-letter words. She was spelling her name because it was so easy for her. So she says, "My name is Bloom," and she says Bloom. However, if you're saying at 2, your son or your daughter is doing like 5 plus 4, 9. I don't know. At 2 years old, because my daughter really just started doing, you know, math, basic math, at like last year or early this year. Early this year, when she turned 4 years old, she was doing like, 4 plus 4, 8, 6 plus 2, 8. She was doing all the type of basic math, but I don't know about, at 2 years old. I mean, but this is the facts, okay? It depends on how you train your child. If you train your child in a way that at 2 years old, it's normal for them to, if you put them through, look, it's about training, okay? It's about training. You might meet a 10-year-old child and they're talking to you. Their communication level is like they're so articulate. And you could be talking to another 10-year-old and it's like they're talking like they're like 6, 7 years old. So it depends on the parent. Okay, it really depends on the parent. But I don't know if children can learn really, really at 2 years old. But I do know for a fact that the parenting style of a father or a mom to their kids really matters when it comes to education. Education is not something you leave to the school. Nah. Education is something that you take personally, and you actually take it upon yourself to train your child in a way that, the child is just elite. Okay? For your child to be elite, for your child to be an elite communicator, for your child to be a highly skilled, functioning person, it has to come from you, the parent, not the school. School helps, but a high functioning human being comes from the parent. But with that being said, guys, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, your boy Genesis has to get out of the live stream. Okay, it is currently about to be 6 a.m. Eastern time. I am in Georgia. All right, I am in Georgia Eastern time. So yeah, I'm almost at 6 a.m. It's 5:58 a.m. and today is the 16th of December, 2024. Let me know what you guys are doing, man. I'm gonna go check on my daughter and see if she's okay, as I do every single night. Check her like twice a night, because you gotta check on your kids. All right, with that being said, God bless you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Like I always say, never ever give up, okay? Never give up. Keep punching. Keep fighting. Okay? Keep fighting. All right? It is what it is. I love you guys, man.